Ladies and gentlemen, today is December 22nd. In 3 days, it'll be December 25th. Mario, what day is December 25th?
It would be Christmas, my friend. Christmas and the day before the World Juniors as well.
You saved yourself. It is World Juniors Eve, as I like to call it. That's the only thing that's going on that day, if I'm not mistaken. My name is Adamo Rimoli. You're not new host, but a host for the World Juniors, we'll call it. Joined by me is, to my bottom left, maybe not your bottom left, Mario Russo, Jared Rotenberg, and Cali's finest, Evan Davis. And as you may know, the NHL shut down. So we can't really talk about the NHL because there isn't any. But fear not, TSN's finest, the World Juniors are happening. Guys, I was listening to the radio. Well, not the radio. I was listening to Spotify. I'm not gonna lie, I don't listen to the radio often. And on my playlist, do you guys know the song Roots? The World Junior one that the
I
commercial?
got the roots written down.
Not quite that one, but it's called Roots. It's you guys know every year like TSN. I give shit to TSN every year because I find like technical errors in their broadcast. But one thing that I got to give them credit for is this commercial that they put on every year that just I think makes Canadians tear up. If you'll know it, you see it. And it just really started making me think of, some of my favorite World Junior memories. I love watching the World Juniors. And one thing in particular that I remember very fondly was the Tyler Steenbergen tip-in goal from Connor Timmins with like a minute 35 left against Sweden. And then the hey, baby, because it was in Buffalo, basically a Canada home game. And I wanted to kind of throw it to you guys. If you guys had any, just as a little, let's get into this, start talking about the World Juniors, get away from the NHL. If you guys had any like famous World Junior memories, Evan, I don't know about how they do it up there in Cali, if you guys even watch the World Juniors, but like maybe any cool moments from the States, maybe beating us in that outdoor game or what have you. So
yeah, I mean, actually, for last year's World Juniors and for this year's World Juniors, I was in Mexico. I'll be in Mexico for it. So like, it was funny. My dad, we were staying at an Airbnb right on the water last year in Mexico. So my dad brought his Canadian router and we hooked it up to the Airbnb TV and we watched Canada, USA. That was awesome. But we watched like almost every game and seeing guys like Tim Stützle before they cracked the NHL and the whole stacked list of players on USA and Canada is always a treat to watch. And I don't know, I made a bet with my buddy because he was living in Vancouver about US and Canada. So I won a few little bucks there on when US won. And but yeah, I love it. I personally love it. I think it's the best hockey.
No, I couldn't agree more. Like, I feel like we're so spoiled. In a normal year, we'll get like Leaf games at 7, and then wherever the heck is, like, we'll have a Team Canada game at either 10 a.m. or like 11 p.m., depending where the heck it is in the world. Maybe I wanted to throw it to the Canadian boys who are north of the border at the moment. Throw it to Jared first. Do you have like a famous World Junior memory?
I'm trying to think of a specific memory. I mean, you got to just think about the moments where Canada's won it all. As you mentioned, there's the Tyler Steenbergen, the game-winning goal. I know Akil Thomas scored the game-winning goal a few years ago. So you have to think of all the iconic years where Canada ended up winning it. But in general, like, I can't think of a specific moment, but just the whole vibe of the World Juniors. I just love it. The fact that it's often the first chance we get to really get a look at some of the next faces of the NHL. I think it's just such a cool tournament, such a cool idea having this big tournament that everyone pays attention to, everyone cares about. It's awesome. There's so many cool moments that I can't think of particularly one, but just getting to see all these young kids, there's something about it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't agree more with that. I love, like, the reason I volunteered to like host this World Junior segment is because I love the World Juniors. I have a passion for it. I love seeing, guys when they're literally our age now, guys. Connor Bedard is 2 years younger than us. Like, I saw a stat on Twitter. It was like Sidney Crosby, like Ryan Getzlaf and all them dominated the 05 World Juniors with Team Canada. And then 6 months later, Connor Bedard was born. So I'll throw it to you, Mario. You got anything?
Well, first of all, it's ridiculous that he is in the tournament and that he's so dominant at the young age that he is. I'm sure we're going to unpack a lot about him and what he's going to bring or possibly bring to this Team Canada. But if I'm going to go with my favorite moment, it's got to be 2020, Canada taking down Russia. They were down 3-1 in the third period, if you remember, and Akil Thomas ended up scoring that game winner. That was a terrific match. And probably the best highlight there was the greatest assist we've seen in recent history in the World Juniors, the camera. Man, you're not going to see a better game saver than that, because I don't think we'll ever be seeing that again in our lifetime. And I think just it goes down, for me at least, as the best World Juniors moment I've seen. And there's so many to choose from, but this one recently at least stands alone.
You know, there's one that we didn't point out, and I think it's because we were probably too young to see it. I remember watching it. I don't know what happened because I was 6 years old and so were we. But the Jordan Eberle game tying goal against the Russians, and I don't remember. Ooh, I'm a bad Canadian.
I think 09.
I know it was 09,
09,
but I don't remember if it was the gold medal or the semifinal. I think it was the semifinal actually. But I'm not a Pierre Maguire guy, and this moment kind of, I'm not going to say ruined his career, but holy crap. I'm talking about the commentary. I forget who was on the play-by-play, but shot from Tavares, rebound, Jordan Eberle. Oh my God, Jordan Eberle scores. Can you believe it? And then Pierre Maguire, not even a second later, I can believe it because the Russians didn't ice the puck. And it just ruined such an iconic call because the color commentator guy thought he wanted to steal the show. So I think we kind of hit on everything. I know we can't really speak for any other countries because, myself of Italian descent, same with Mario, and I know you guys don't think you have any Scandinavian roots. I could be wrong. Are you true for? I know you're
no mafias.
Yeah, no, none of that. So I think we can just head right into this tournament, man. Like, let's just flush out all the whatever the heck is going on in the world. But I want to preface this little episode with two things beforehand. Number one, me, Mario, Evan, and Jared are not scouts. So please do not come at us with, oh my God, no, how don't you know about this third guy in the German league? Chill. We did our research, but we are not scouts. And number two, if you are watching this, you are probably not a scout either. So don't tell me, because this is what I'm telling you, this is going to happen. Matvei Michkov is going to have an unreal World Juniors playing on the top 6 for Russia, while Connor Bedard is going to be like a 14th forward. And we're just going, Michkov's better. Don't let a 6-game sample size cloud your judgment. Okay. This is a fun tournament, but we are not scouts. We're here to enjoy this. So without further ado, I say we hop into the first team. You want to say something?
Can I say, just one thing to your point. Yeah. How many guys do you see have an incredible World Juniors and then the NHL production just doesn't, like their NHL production just doesn't live up to what you had thought after those 6 games?
Oh yeah, exactly. And
I mean, there's been plenty of guys who are like that.
Yeah. And there are guys who are the opposite too. There are guys who are like 14 forwards and then, they go out to be insane players. Jason Spezza is one of them. Jason Spezza was the 14th forward on Team Canada, while his current assistant coach, Manny Malhotra, was first line center in 2000. So that being said, I think we should, that's a stat. I think we should head into the first team we're going to go like 10-1 in my rankings. So we're going to start with the, I'm not going to call them the bad teams because that's rude, but the not so competitive teams. We used to, like, little aside, in track and field, my elementary school always used to suck and we always used to come last. So instead of saying we came last, it was always we came 8th out of 8 teams. So the team that I think is probably going to come 10th out of 10, Austria. Austria last year came 10th. This year, they're not returning a great roster. They have a couple good players, but nothing to look out for. I guess I'll throw it to Jared. Do you have a thought on Austria? I don't want to spend too much time here.
I mean, really, it's just they're a weak team in the tournament. And often how the World Juniors goes is it's pretty clear going into the tournament who's going to be the leading teams and who are going to be the teams that are going to struggle. And Austria is definitely going to be a team that I don't see them finding any kind of success. They're in that Group A, so that first division where they're going to have to play against teams like Canada and Finland. So it's pretty clear, at least my prediction going into the tournament, is they're likely going to get eaten alive. there's definitely some good players to watch. There's Marco Casper, who's a 2022 first-round prospect. So guys like that, some young kids are going to be relied upon heavily. There are a few shining stars offensively on that team, but overall they just aren't strong. They don't have the depth from top to bottom. With a weak defense in front of their goaltending's likely going to struggle. As I said, defense is kind of a weak spot. So there's a few shining stars. There's going to be a few exciting players to watch. But overall, in that division where they're going to have to get through teams like Canada and Finland, there's not a lot of expectations on Austria. They probably are going to struggle, and that wouldn't be much of a surprise.
Yeah, honestly, I would throw it to Mario and Evan, but Jared kind of hit everything. Not much to talk about with Austria. Like, I'm sorry, you don't have Marco Rossi anymore, who is like probably your best player in the world right now. I can't think of another Austrian player off the top of my head, but they have another guy named Vinces Roher. I Googled these names. I still suck at pronouncing them. He's got 22 points in the O with the 67s. The 67s are a great team. Probably going to be a mid-round pick, super skilled little guy. But other than that, Marco Casper is the guy to look out for. And the main storyline going into this team is, can they avoid being relegated to the second division? So if that is your cup of tea, like watching teams that are probably going to get relegated, Austria is your team. So, yeah, I guess we should probably move on from there. Let's go to a normally fun team, but not as fun team this year, I'd say. Let's talk about the Germans. So the Germans last year came sixth. Obviously, you remember they took that horrifying beatdown in the first game of the tournament. I think it was on Boxing Day 2 to the Canadians. It was, what was it, like 14-1?
14-1. I checked today.
I think it was like 14-1.
Yeah.
It was really bad. It was really bad. I feel bad because the Germans had COVID. Like, I'm not going to sit there and act like that is the German team because, they had Tim Stützle. They had another guy who's returning, who I guess we'll touch on a little bit after. But honestly, the main storyline for the Germans, again, is kind of what they always are. Can they, like, maybe sneak into that number 4 seed and play whoever's going to come first in Pool B? We'll look to see that. Mario, you got anything to talk about on the Germans?
Well, it's a pretty brief conversation to have about this team, just because the glory days are in the rear view mirror. Like, they had their big time players, Reichel and Peterka. They could have played this year, but they chose to stay in the AHL to develop. So that's a pretty unique angle there. Stützle from last season, he obviously is doing so well in the National Hockey League. There's no reason to bring him back. So it's looking as though nothing talent wise is going to be so significant for this German team to bring a bigger and more hype fan base around them to root for them. Because last year, I can honestly say, if you put COVID aside, this team was a fun squad to watch. They had a lot of players going for them, a lot of talent on the ice. Tim Stützle highlighted that package, but this year it's totally different, and I don't think they're going to have enough pieces to put together. The one thing I am interested to see, and I want to pose this question to you as well, what do the Germans have to do in order to bring some hype back to this club?
Honestly, I couldn't answer that. I think they just got to kind of stick to that identity of being like this underrated team that, we're fast, we're fun. We might catch you like on a like catch you sleeping, with your guard down. I know good teams often they'll like, oh, I'm gonna try and hot dog it. I'm gonna pull like a Michigan. I'm gonna let my guard down, and then German score again. Suddenly it's a 3-2 game going into the last 5 minutes. So honestly, the German program isn't the greatest right now. They're not only, but they're one skater that is drafted to the NHL, Luca Munzenberger. I pronounced that one correctly. 3rd round pick to the Edmonton Oilers. Kind of just a big defensive defenseman. He makes it. Probably tops out as a number 5-6 defenseman. Currently with 2 points at the University of Vermont, which is, I'm sure Evan can attest to, is not in a major conference and not that good either. So another guy that is returning, I should mention, is their captain, Florian Elias, who was kind of Tim Stützle's sidekick last year. He had a killer World Juniors just kind of out of nowhere. He had 9 points in 5 games last year on that COVID-fled German team. Now in the Dutch Elite League, he's got 4 points, 21 games, 5'9" little guy that he's a little water bug on the ice. He can stick lift, create turnovers to the neutral zone. But other than that, those are the 2 guys to really look out for. You really got nothing on the back end. They have some slept on goalie. They have a guy named Kwap. He is their only NHL drafted goaltender at the moment. But other than that, I don't see them going anywhere. That's why the storyline going into this, can they make it into the knockout round? If they can, cool. If not, probably getting relegated or fighting against relegation. Again, I'm not going to throw it to you, Evan, because what else is there to say? Let's head into the next.
You forgot about Moritz Seider, who was on that team last year as well. No, he's in.
Oh yeah, he's not on the team this year.
No, I'm saying, but he was on the team
okay,
last year. I was saying, like you said, you forgot about Seider, who's now kicking ass in the NHL.
Yeah, they were a good team. Like they do, like low-key had a couple good players, like you said, Reichel, Gudler, you know.
But I think it's a test to them, like as well, like a test to the Germans that like their guys have now developed. Like the World Juniors is all about development, so it's like I obviously you're going to have a stretch of maybe 5 years where your team just isn't good enough, because then now you're waiting for the next set of talent to kind of roll through. You know, they had that with like Draisaitl, Stützle, Seider, and now they're kind of just waiting for the next level of talent to come through.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think there's much else to add on that. That was a good point. But like, what else do you say about Germany here? It's a down year. It's a retooling year for them. We'll call it. I don't know how much retooling you can do. There's no draft, but yeah, let's move on to a team there where, if you guys remember this team, even their coach thought they absolutely sucked. I'm going to go with Switzerland. I see Jared laughing. You want to tell the context of that while you're laughing?
I can't tell you in detail who the guy's name was, like all the details of it, but basically it was a few years ago, and the coach basically heading into a game, it was Switzerland versus Team Canada, and he basically said to the media, he's like, yeah, my team sucks. We have no chance in this game. And like the guy asked him, he's like, okay, what are you going to tell your team? Like you have to try to motivate them somehow. And I'll tell them exactly that.
You gotta say, no, he said they could pass better, they could shoot better, they could skate better, they could do everything better.
Yeah, like literally, he knew like, Canada was a better team, and he said that.
They got 7 guys in the first round, and other guys and the rest is in the second round. We have one in the third round, and everyone else is playing in the pro league.
Not a good look.
You hit that. That was pretty accurate, Evan. That's like that's pretty
accurate.
A
little concerned about the memory there. Like you go all the way there. Switzerland's head coach.
Yeah,
that was awesome, man. That was so funny.
Well, yeah, if it wasn't clear enough, we're talking about the Swiss team. I don't know if I actually said it, but we're talking about Switzerland, another team that they're fun. I feel like they always stay up, but they're never like any good. Like they'll win like a weird, like they'll go and beat Russia or something, like, but they won't go anywhere. They won't make it to a top 4. This year again, they're not that good, but I have them projected at 8. Last year they came 9th. I guess I'll throw it to Mario. Do you got anything to say on Switzerland?
They're in a pretty similar spot, I would say, at least. Austria, I don't know. I don't see them being a top fighter in this tournament. The goaltending is a big question mark for me heading in. Will it be enough to get them past the line and maybe through that group of death? I really don't think so. I think we're going to have to wait and see. I think you're going to get a very good spectrum of what's going on within the first couple of games. Once you see that small little sample size, if this team's got a little bit of hope in it or just flat out nothing. It takes 3 to tango, and the depth for Switzerland, it stops at 2. I'm not really loving their squad right now. There's not much depth behind their star players, who even then they don't have too many guys who are extremely talented and can put the team on their back. So not really a big fan of Switzerland's odds, and I can really put them in the same circle as, unfortunately, Austria.
Yeah, I like you mentioned that group of death, and I'm calling it a group of death this year because of not the next team we're going to talk about, but a team coming up that we're going to talk about being Slovakia. That division is just too stacked. Where the point where Switzerland's probably going to end up in the relegation, and they're going to be lucky if they win a game, because if you actually remember last year, Austria scored 1 goal, and they were in the same division. Like they weren't in a really good division. The divisions haven't changed. I should probably have mentioned that off the top. This is a replay of last year's tournament, same venues, same division, same everything, just different players. Austria scored once. They scored 1 goal, and it was in a really not that good division, like you can tell. So I'd love to see how Switzerland's going to score. Their big prospect, I should say, is going to go in like probably a late first, early second, named Liam Bichel. Another similar guy to Mutzenberger, big defender who can skate. That seems to be the prototypical build that NHL GMs love. He's got 1 point in 12 games on Kasimir Kaskisuo's Leksand in the SHL. that's where he is now. I like keeping up on his YouTube videos. Their big NHL draft prospect is from the 6th round, Simon Knock. He's got 8 points in 25 games for HC Davos. Just a forechecker, another kind of little water bug. Stick lifts, little guy, can skate pretty fast. But other than that, this team really has no one. And like that coach said, Canada and pretty much every team in this tournament, except for, I'd say, Austria and Germany, they're just better. They're just so much better. There's really not much to say. The big storyline going in here is could this like actually be Switzerland's final run in the top division? Because like they've been here for a while. I don't know the exact stat, but Evan, you want to maybe throw out a prediction? Do you think they'll stay in the top division?
I don't know, man. Like this team's kind of rough. Like it's hard. Like, and it's not like something new. Like the Swiss have always seemed to Switzerland's always seen. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. We're talking about Switzerland.
Yeah, Switzerland.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
Yes,
I was getting confused with Switzerland and Sweden for a second. Oh my God. Okay. Switzerland has never really like made a name for themselves. I don't know how they keep ending up in this tournament. Like it seems like they're doing something fishy, but I do like that top prospect. Liam Bichel. I think I don't know. I'm getting like Zdeno Chara type vibes, but a little bit more like offensive upside. He's a big body who can definitely, I think he can make an impact right away for teams, considering that its size and offensive ability is what teams scream for, especially from defensemen. And look, although they're not like they're going in with low expectations. So I think if he could perform, and he might not get the points, but if the potential that scouts can see is there, he can definitely raise his draft value. And I think that's all what this is about, especially when you're an underdog. Like I actually find that to be a lot less pressure, because as long as you perform well, your draft stock goes up, rather than being a top team, you perform mediocre and then scouts might look at you a different way. And then, I mean, like, I'll be brief. In terms of the rest of their team, he's their only hope. And unfortunately, he's a defenseman, so he can't really be involved that much offensively, but he's got a cannon.
Oh yeah, for sure. While being 6'5", and he's, again, I hate to keep bringing this up, but he's a year younger than us, born in 2004, 6'5", 216 pounds.
What do they feed him?
Yeah, he is a big fella, which I guess it's going to be useful, but I don't think it's going to be nearly enough to keep Sweden. I think even putting them 8th, I have them ranked 8th. I think even that Sweden, Switzerland, I think that's probably pretty generous too, being 8th. I think if they come 8th, I think they take that in sprint, because that means they get the treat of playing whoever was first in the other division. So,
but don't they also get to qualify? Like they're automatically qualified.
Yeah, they're automatically qualified. Yeah. The way it works is the 9 and 10, basically the bottoms of each division, play almost like a soccer style thing. It's not a 1-game elimination; it's a 2-game aggregate situation. So if they somehow avoid that, I think success. Well done, Switzerland, if you do that.
Honestly, that is, if they can just
success.
Like not play in that game, then it's successful.
It kind of gives me like European soccer vibes at the same time, because like in European soccer, there are teams, they're like people that are just loyal to their team, because it's like a religion there. It's wild. And part of cheering for the team is, let's go, come on, let's come 17th this year because we avoid the bottom 3 and we don't get relegated. So that's Switzerland this year.
Yeah.
So I think we could move on to the next team in line, a team that once was, I'd say, a powerhouse. I think they've even won gold a couple times, not a couple, but I'm pretty sure they've medaled a bunch. It's Czechia. Now you may be asking, what the heck is Czechia? And I said that too. I was at work today, and I work at a hockey store. I shouldn't say I don't work. So we have TSN on 24/7. So I'm just listening to them talk about the World Juniors. And they keep referring to this country as, I don't, yeah, you're right. I don't work. And they keep referring to this country as Czechia. I'm like, what the heck is Czechia? And then I go and Google it, and that's their like official short name. You know how there's the United States of America, and then there's the US or the USA. So Czechia is the official short name of Czech Republic. So we're going to try to refer to them as Czechia, because I'm guessing that's what TSN is going to go with. So I made a little minor error. So we're going to talk about Czechia. They've been mediocre for the last couple of years, coming 7th last year. This team really isn't that good again. Like, I feel like Czechia, God, I got to get used to that. It used to put out better teams, But now they really don't have much. Their best player being Jan Misak, who's going to be probably their captain again, Montreal Canadiens prospect. This year at the Hamilton Bulldogs, 31 points in 25 games. I find it ironic that he's back on the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs actually, for anyone who doesn't know, used to be the Montreal Canadiens AHL affiliate, and now he's just somehow ended up there on the OHL team. We'll throw it to Jared. You want to talk about Czechia? I almost called them Czech Republic. Czechia a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So overall, I'd say they're pretty solid, but they don't have, aside from a few shining stars, they don't really have a ton of stars, and as well, they aren't very good all throughout. Again, they're one of those teams that's in the division with Canada and Finland. I don't really see them exactly matching up well against those teams. However, I do see them, they're probably going to be able to get away with some wins against teams like Austria. So I think they'll be fine. I probably have them somewhere in that division, at least. I have them somewhere in the middle. But overall in the tournament, they will be one of the weaker teams. They aren't exactly a big team to keep an eye on. The one thing that I actually don't hate with their team is they have some solid goaltenders. So the likely starter is going to be, I believe it's pronounced Jan Bednar or maybe
Jan Bednar. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So he's a Red Wings prospect. He has a 902 save percentage. He's currently playing on the Acadie Bathurst Titans of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. So he was at the tournament last year. He's gained some experience. So he can maybe be one of those, Czechia can maybe be one of those teams that sort of rides off a hot goaltender. So that's maybe sort of what they're hoping to do there. As well, I looked at the stats for one of their backup goalies. He's a New Jersey Devils prospect named Jakob.
Oh, goodness.
Is that my mic?
What the hell just happened?
Jared, I think your mic came out and it like just kind of, I thought it was me. Yeah, you try to unplug and replug your mic. I'll like kind of take over here from him.
Crap.
Yeah, that like.
Oh, can I say one thing about Czechia?
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
Look, I kind of like disagree with you. I think Czechia can be like a really solid team. And the only reason is because their coaching has always been like, they've always been that team that finds a way to steal a win from you. And I think their team's pretty solid. They do lack offensive ability, but it seems like in some of these tournaments where size is an issue, that's where Czechia can really take advantage of some teams. And I don't know. I would put them, I would say their ceiling could be 5, but I definitely think the floor is number 7 where you rank them. I don't know. Like they just seem like a team that can really surprise you. And it's all starts with goaltending and defensive ability, which is a lot of times the teams just get the most offensive firepower. And I think that's where Czechia can really like counter that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying they're a bad team. They have some pretty good players. It's just more like the rest of their roster is kind of mediocre.
No, yeah, for sure.
Probably they have a couple of star defensemen too. Actually, Stanislav Svozil is a Quebec. Oh my goodness, Columbus Blue Jackets prospect, drafted 69th overall. Nice. He's waiting for that.
Humble brag.
He's got. That's such a brag, eh? He's got 18 points in 26 games with the Regina St. Pat's. He's actually a defenseman like that I knew going into the tournament because he is a pretty I shouldn't say pretty good skater. He's a really good skater. Big guy too. He's about 6'1", $185. Really good transition defender. I did a little bit of research. Like scouts are calling him one of, if not the best transition defenseman in the tournament. So that's maybe something to watch out for. I always like watching defensemen who can like take it from the back of their net and walk it in, or a defenseman that'll just shut you down at the blue line, take the puck, bang, we're up in transition. Their big prospect named David Jiricek. He's got 11 points in 29 games, right-handed defenseman playing in the Czech Pro League. He's ranked in the late lottery. Like he's supposed to go from 7th to 16th. Obviously this could change because we're at least 8 months, maybe not 8, but like a good 6-7 months away from the draft. So that's probably a guy to watch out for the 22 draft. Mario, you got anything to add?
I just think this team has to see something different in their identity. I don't know if you mentioned this. They haven't gotten past the quarterfinals in quite a long time. And I hate to compare these kind of teams. Obviously it's a program, so you're getting refresh system every single year. I hate to compare them to NHL teams, but there's one NHL team that would come to mind, and put this one a little bit aside with the star players I'm about to mention, but the Edmonton Oilers. I don't say it because they got McDavid and Draisaitl. I'll say it because they have a bit of stars up top, but nothing else behind them. And they also kind of lack the ability to grind out wins. This is what Czechia have
There
to
you
do
go.
in order to dance across a checkboard. I'll keep my metaphors intact here, as I'm not the
Not
host.
the host.
I'm not the host, but I'll keep the metaphors up. But in order to dance their way across the chessboard or the checkers board, whatever you may have, they have to grind out some wins. They have to break that streak of them not being able to get to the above the quarterfinals. If they do that, I think they can maybe be a little bit potent, a little bit scary, because they're going to have that momentum. I don't think they're a top team. I'm not saying that, but they're playing a game within a game right now. And I think if they can go on the successful side of things, get some gritty wins and maybe a few upsets along the way, this team can maybe be well off to do a little bit something special in this short tournament, making it a memorable tournament. Memorable is not a word.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a not too difficult division. Like Austria and Germany should be not just wins, but they should be like murder this team wins. Finland, Canada, it's obviously probably a different story.
Mhm.
But if they can get that number 3 seed, you're playing one of Russia, Sweden, United States, or probably not Slovakia, but one of those three. And, you know, teams like that, they're always vulnerable when you're playing a pretty decent team. So they're in a decent spot to maybe get to that semifinals. I'm not going to throw it to you, Jared, because these two already went, and there's not too much to, you know, say on Czechia. Like, this is another team. I have them ranked 7th out of 10, so they're not the greatest. But let's move to Slovakia, who I think they were once a nation. I'm not like a history freak. But
Czechoslovakia.
Like
they were together. Czech Republic and Slovakia. They were once together. Now they're complete rivals. So go on with it.
Rivals.
Slovakia, bring them on.
Well, they're once, I'd say, together again, grouped in the group of mediocrity. The number 6 team that I got is Slovakia. And I want to gloat about Slovakia a little bit because I have them really low, but it hurt my soul to put them really low. Because I was making my predictions and I'm like, okay, realistically, is Slovakia going to be better than Russia, Sweden, and the United States? And I had them above the United States for a second. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
They're good. Don't give me those eyes. They have a very good.
I had them above Sweden too, and then I'm like, what is wrong with you? But I keep looking at this Slovakian roster, and I know I'm not like the biggest prospect guy, but I like prospects. I'm like, holy crap, these guys are going to be fun. This is going to be a fun team.
Yes,
they're going to be so much fun. Storyline basically going into these guys is let the kids play. Oh my God, this is going to be such a fun team. I cannot wait to watch them. I think they got the first game of the World Juniors. I don't have the schedule right in front of me, but I think they have the 4:00 game on Boxing Day. So like, let's just start talking about some of these players. I'll start with one. Yurov Slavkovsky. I said that correctly. Ranked 4-10, 4-11. He's going to go somewhere in there. Maybe even number 3. I've seen, like, I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about this guy being like the next guy after Shane Wright. Basically a big power forward that can protect the puck, score goals, play defense, hit you super fast. And I cannot wait to watch him. I'll let Jared sound off a little bit on Slovakia because I know he's done his due diligence. Let's see what he has to say.
Okay. Sorry, could you guys hear me first of all?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, my mic's back working. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first player I want to sort of highlight when talking about Slovakia is a player by the name of Simon Nemec. So he's a 2022 prospect. He won't go first overall. Of course, this is Shane Wright's draft, but he's going to be somewhere around there. He's a very good puck-moving defenseman. So he's somewhere that's definitely in the mix to be a high draft pick this year. He could definitely help out Slovakia's defensive core. So there definitely is players on this team to highlight. Overall, kind of, in my opinion, the whole spiel with Slovakia is that they're a very interesting team to watch. And I think in my mind, they're a very boom or bust kind of team. So the question with a lot of sort of inexperience, a lot of young kids kind of getting a shot with this roster, the question is going to be, do they click right away and they are one of those surprising teams that goes on a run? Or do they kind of get shut down by the stronger teams in their division? So like there's a lot of kind of question marks there. It's not me doubting the team because I think they're going to be a very fun team in this tournament. They're definitely a team to keep an eye on, definitely a team to watch. They have loads of talent all throughout their roster, but as well, when they're playing against teams such as the US and Sweden and Russia and all these teams like that, there is going to be a question mark at how many wins they could kind of take away from the big boys in that division. So there is some questions there, but overall, no, they're a very fun team. I'm very excited to see how they do. I'd say they maybe lack a little bit of depth throughout their lineup, but overall, on both forwards and in defense, they have their fair share of young kids and prospects that are really going to get a chance at this roster. And overall, I'm really excited to see how these Slovakian kids do. Not one of my picks to really go on a run or do anything major, but they will be a team to keep an eye on because there's a few kids on that team that if they really find magic in this tournament, there is a storyline there that Slovakia could somehow be that miracle team that there always is one. There's always one surprising team. And there's definitely a route there that Slovakia could be this year's surprising team.
I wanted to talk about like some players specifically, because one big thing that I really like about this Slovakian team is that, like, let's say there's a face-off in the other team's end, you're down 3-2, minute left, you need a goal. You can throw out a legit line that will score you a goal because they have so much individual skill, like up front. I'd say it's as good as pretty much anyone except for Canada. And I'll like actually come out and say that they're so good, and I can't wait to see them. Another guy that like I want to talk about, maybe I'll say for Evan, is Martin Kromiak. I don't know if he's too
Kings
familiar
boy.
with him, but yeah, he's a Kings boy. Or did you say Vegas boy? I didn't hear you.
I said Kings.
Okay, yeah. Kings boy. Shane Wright's line mate, I should say. He's got 32 points in 23 games from this year. He was an import pick, I believe, in the OHL. I don't have that in front of me, but Mario, you
most likely would be.
Yeah, I think he was like an import pick. I think he has to be actually.
Yeah,
but,
he has to be.
You want to go, Mario?
I have to harp on this team. I cannot wait to watch these guys. If you're a fan of the World Juniors, I suppose you guys are if you're tuned into this show, please keep close tabs on Slovakia. I have a very good feeling on them. And I know this could blow up very, very easily in my face because I know they're probably a boom or a bust team. But man, if these guys get clicking, there's no real answer of what we can see and what we cannot see from them. They're the best Slovakia team that we have seen in years. Lots of up and coming draft picks, and they really look to stabilize themselves into the discussion this year. How will they do that in a tough division? Well, upsets, and they are probably one of the better teams equipped to do so and upset other teams. Few teams have a leader in goal. The Slovaks have that. Simon Latskoski. Maybe the Italian blood is not very good with these pronunciations, but he plays for the Madison Capitals and is a 10-3-1 record. He is terrific down there. I can see him being terrific in this tournament, so keep an eye on him. He's going to be a pretty good leader from the goal out. And if you did not know, Slovakia was a Wayne Gretzky tournament finalist last summer, so they got some success rolling in recent memory. And it's not going to be a long tournament like I mentioned with the Czechia, but it could very possibly be a memorable one. And I think the Slovakia team has what it takes to not just go the distance, but really impress fans of the tournament.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I think it'd be a crime if we also didn't mention Samuel Knazko. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Another St. Louis pick in the third round defenseman who is very similar to Stanislav Svozil in the fact that he is a smooth skating defenseman, really good in transition. He makes these long, hard stretch passes that I love seeing stretch passes. It's something Timothy Liljegren has been able to do so well for the Leafs. So I'd like to kind of compare him to that. Random little aside on Knazko, he's really good on his backhand, which is good because that'll mean translating to an NHL level, he could probably play on both sides. Evan, you got anything to say on the rest of Slovakia, or just what do you like? What do you expect?
No, I don't know. Like they're always like a mediocre to like elite team. Like they always have enough to get you there, but they don't have enough to get over the hump usually. I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to a medal round. I just don't think it will be the gold medal. Yeah. So I think crazy. I think their ceiling could definitely be like the third, fourth place game. But you know, I think next year they could actually take gold. Like they have a lot of 17-year-olds this year that can return next year that I'm very intrigued by. And I think it can make it more interesting so that it's not like Canada, USA every year. So they can I think this is like step 4 or 5 of getting to a gold medal.
Yeah, and that's actually one thing I wanted to touch on too, is maybe not this year, even though it very well could be this year, but next year when guys like, if they don't make the NHL, which I don't think Linemates, I think that's how you pronounce Nemek, or I'm not 200%. Him, Slavkovsky, other guys like Dvorsky, who is an 05, he's actually like the number 3 guy that no one talks about behind Bedard and Michkov. He's on this team too. They have Philip Massar, who is another fantastic player. Just literally going through their roster. Chromiak won't be back next year. They have a really solid team, and they're young too. Like, these aren't NHL drafted guys. They only have 3 NHL picks, and we're talking about them, potentially upsetting a United States or a Sweden or one of these big teams. Unluckily for them, if they don't manage to do that and they come fourth, they're playing probably Canada in that medal round. So the storyline going into here is somehow get into third and just somehow get into a medal round. I think that would be a successful tournament to then. Anything less than that, they shouldn't be anywhere near the relegation round. Even though last year they came, I believe, 8th. Yeah, they came 8th last year. I think we've said enough on Slovakia. Like, we just.
I just say one
yeah,
thing. Like, it's not. I was just saying that, like, for a lot of guys, especially like in Europe, like the Golden Arch isn't the NHL. So like a lot of these guys are like playing in the KHL or like the SHL. Like, that's their country's Golden Arch. So like, I think people also need to realize that like they're playing professional in their country. Like, the NHL isn't the dream for everyone in the entire world.
Oh, 100%. Like, you got to remember, these guys are all pretty much pros now. Like, it's crazy to think about that. Like, I'll bring up Dalibor Dvorsky. He's playing right now in the Allsvenskan. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's Sweden's AHL. He was playing there, and the guy's 2 years younger than us. He's an 05. He is 17 years old. He can't even drive. Like, or he's 16 years old. He's not 17. He's 16 years old. So moving on, let's. I think Evan's going to have a little field day with this, because ranked 5th, I have the United States of America going into.
Wait, 5th? I thought this was.
What do you mean?
Oh, I didn't realize what number you were.
I'm literally just going in. I'm going in order of, like, I just set a random order. Like, this isn't like set in stone. I just have them. I have them there. Yeah, I have them behind that big 4. It's the United States. They're bringing. I know they won last year, and I know they were a good team, and I know they still are a fantastic team. This is not me saying. I think the gap between the top 5 and the bottom 5 is massive. Like, the United States could fully be the second best team in this tournament, and you could make a real argument about this. I guess if we want to touch on some good players, we'll start with, I guess, probably their best. I can't decide who their best player is, so I
think it's Matthew Beniers.
You think it's Matty Beniers? I was gonna say either Matty Beniers or Jake Sanderson, who's having a phenomenal year at University of North Dakota. I really criticized that pick. If you remember that draft, it was the Sanderson versus Drysdale debate, and unanimously, I'd say people thought Drysdale was better, but they ended up.
I think it was 1A or 1B. There
wasn't a bad choice. It was more just Drysdale.
Like, who do you want?
Yeah, and right now it's looking like it's a lot closer than we originally thought. So, got to watch out for them is Jake Sanderson. He right now at the University of North Dakota came in as like a puck mover, not a super fantastic like offensive defenseman. Still has 19 points in 15 games. I don't know. Are they number 1?
No, I think Michigan is.
Oh yeah, Michigan's really good too, but that's nothing to slouch at.
North Dakota is definitely in the top 5, but
easily, fully.
I could go into the U. I don't know. I think USA is going to be. Well, look, I mean, also credit to Michigan, because the amount of guys that they have on this roster.
Crazy.
Matthew Beniers, I think Sasha Pastujov's, Thomas Bordeleau's there. Who else is on that? Luke Hughes is on that team.
Yep.
Jacob Truscott's on that team. Sean Barnes is at Denver, I believe. Who else? They have Brock Faber, who I think is at North Dakota with Sanderson. Yeah. They have, oh my God, just Logan Cooley's with a NTDP. I think Red Savage is at BU or BC. I can't remember which one he's at, but he was also at the end. Like, everyone's at the NTDP. Matthew Coronado is disgusting. I think he's with the Chicago Steel right now. I mean, like,
there's one guy that I think we should also maybe talk about. I was going to bring up, but actually, no, what? You go, and then we'll talk about the guys.
All right, I don't know. I think like Brock Faber is like LA Kings prospect. He's disgusting. Their goaltending is the one thing that concerns me, though, because they don't have the goaltending. I think maybe that's why you rank them at 5. Yeah. But I think their offensive and defensive firepower can almost just like kind of push that off to the side. Like if you look at if you look at Canada with like Devin Levy, like remember he was gross at the World Juniors. It hasn't translated to like fought like now that he's actually back on planet Earth and not playing with 15 first round picks. So look, I think that could be something with the USA, but I just think like their team and is just disgusting. I mean, it's really good. And
I'm not saying it's not.
No, yeah. And
strong.
I wish like I wish Spencer Knight was available. That's why I didn't like that he was in the NHL, because if you had Spencer Knight with you now,
would have been complete.
It's probably the best team in the tournament.
Yes.
But that would be like because that's why the team is good, because Benier stayed. Kent Johnson USA?
Canadian.
Oh, he's Canadian. Okay, sorry, I forgot. But like the fact
Michigan
that Benier stayed is huge. But yeah, Michigan as well. I mean, the fact that Pashajov's still there. I mean, his brother was the Ducks pick. I mean, like this team, Bordelot, San Jose, like Chaz Lucius is also, I believe he's a prospect for this year's draft. He's at the end.
He's Winnipeg. He got drafted by Winnipeg.
He did get, okay, he's at the NTDP. That's why I got confused. He's in, oh wait, is he at the NTDP or?
Yeah.
Crap. Yeah, he's at the NTDP.
Sorry. He's playing in, I think, Minnesota. Yeah, he's Minnesota.
Okay, I've seen too many highlights that were from the NTDP, so I thought he was still there. But Logan Cooley's still at the NTDP. He's most likely a top 10 lottery pick. I don't know. I think they can. I'm getting like Canada vibes where like they're like, although the goaltending isn't as strong, they could definitely make their goaltenders look strong, because the defense is just disgusting. It's insane. Like their like Luke Hughes has been tearing it up at Michigan. Truscott's been tearing it up at Michigan. Barons has been tearing it up in Denver. Like they got a really good team. I think they could definitely win it again.
I completely agree with you in the sense that their forwards are great, but that goaltending is brutal. And I like the analogy that you gave to Canada, because Canada just never has good goaltending, and that's kind of their thing. Like Devin Levi catches lightning in a bottle and then is never seen from again. Because he's literally a junior A goal. He wasn't even in the O. A guy that and he had like a 951 save percentage with like 3 shutouts. That's why I think USA can turn.
They can turn that. That's why
they definitely can. I also don't think they're as stacked as we may think. We've got to mention Matthew Coronado, who I think was 13th overall. Guy who can score goals. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You said like you said half the roster.
I went through the entire
except for the guy that I wanted to talk about, Matthew Nyes, Leaf prospect. I figured this is a Leaf show. I think we should maybe highlight some of the Leaf prospects. Matthew Nyes is in the roster. I saw him slated at second line left wing, playing at University of Minnesota. And
then
who else?
I just love this. Mackey Salmon. I don't know how to, but Mackey is a Michigan boy as well. He's at University of Michigan too.
Yeah, so it's these college guys, man. They're fantastic. It's really fun to see that. Like I don't watch college hockey too much. Like I like to dabble. Notre Dame's on, who, by the way, assistant captain of the United States, Landon Slaggert, Notre Dame boy. He's going to be on the team. Not really a notable guy. He's 10 points in 17 games in the Big Ten for Notre Dame. But I just thought it was a fun aside because I'm a Notre Dame fan. But heading back to Matthew Nyes, for anyone who doesn't know, the Leafs picked him last year, 57th overall in the second round. He's got 16 points in 18 games for the University of Minnesota, the Golden Gophers. I love that name. And he's a big power forward that I think Leaf fans are going to absolutely love. Like 6'3", 205. Like he's got a big frame. And not only, the thing that I like about Matthew Nyes the most is he scores goals, but he is a playmaker first. And that is something that is, I think, can become like a market inefficiency in NHL. Like you don't see many guys like, I almost not Brad Marchand in that sense that, but Brad Marchand in the sense that, like I'm gonna hit you and I'm gonna play make first. You know, we have a lot of Zach Hymans who will bang in, score 30 goals, but not many guys that'll bang in and pass the puck much. So Mario, you got anything to say?
I mean, Evan kind of highlighted almost the entire roster, and I think it just speaks
sorry.
volumes.
I have one more guy that after you're done that I forgot that I wanted to mention.
No, for sure. But like, just to credit your point, you highlighted the whole roster. It's because the whole roster from top to bottom is spectacular. You're going to get production from just about every one of these players. They're all terrific hockey players. Another angle to take on this as well. So much chemistry. They all came up in the U.S. National Development Program, or not all of them, but most of them. So you're having a lot of chemistry, and those roots go back pretty far. So that's always a bonus to have on your squad. But again, going back to that debate, why they're not ranked as high, I would see in your rankings, Adamo, is basically because their goaltending position isn't as strong. And I know we've all said this. I don't want to harp on it too much or beat the dead horse, but Drew Commesso, he's the Boston University. He's put up a couple years of a plus 900 save percentage. Will he suffice? That's the big question mark. And they have other guys behind him as well. But will he be the leader back there? That's a big question mark. But again, if you want to go back to Canada, you compare this, Evan, to Canada. Canada's problem last year, was that they've cruised through the group stage, and Levi looked like he was amazing, 3 shutouts, all those great numbers. And then he got hit with a big fat chunk of adversity against the United States, and he couldn't compete. He couldn't live up to that expectation, and everyone's image of him, the persona of him, just crumbled to the ground. So I don't think necessarily this is the best thing in the world for the U.S. Don't let the roster top to bottom, forwards to defensemen, fool you. Goaltending is a big thing in the World Juniors. It's something that can get you quite far. That's why I talk so highly about the Slovakia. They have such a key goaltending position from their first stringer to their third stringer. The U.S. don't have that too much. So interesting to see how far the U.S. The goaltenders can take them. And this can really turn into a good situation just as much as it could turn into a bad situation with the United States. So pump the brakes a bit. But again, this roster, gotta love it, man. These guys are great players, great point getters. Goaltending position is going to be the big question mark.
Yeah, Evan, you want to talk about that guy before I give it to you, Jared?
Yeah, I think like it's just crazy. Like I like talking about depth at the forward and defense is obvious. Like they have a lot. The goaltending, I hope
it can tread
Drew
water.
Commesso, I hope Drew Commesso could stand up for the team, because I'm not very confident in the other 2 options that they have. They're 2022 draft prospects, and I just really don't want them going up against teams like Canada and Sweden, because they have tendencies to eat you alive, and Russia. But I was also going to say at Michigan as well is Brendan Brisson, who's the draft pick, Vegas Golden Knights, obviously the son of Pat Brisson. I mean, he's tied with Matthew Beniers with goals, with 11 goals. I believe he has 12 assists. And I mean, he's been tearing it up with them as well. I wish he was on it. He was like a 14th skater last year with USA, wasn't able to make it this year, but God, I wish their goaltending was better.
Yeah, the goaltending is rough, which I like what Mario said. You can crumble under the pressure. And I think if they play against Canada, it's in Canada again, but this time with fans, being a goaltender with fans cheering against you is extremely difficult. It's probably one of the hardest things being an away goaltender, because we're like, it's not like it's a bunch of like half and half, like a neutral ground. It is a Canadian led thing, and I don't think many Americans are gonna, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think many Americans will make the trek up to Edmonton, Alberta in a half capacitated Rogers Center or Rogers Place. Is that what it's called?
Rogers Place, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Or friggin' Red Deer, where there's only 3,000 fans. So, Jared, you got anything else to add on the United States of America?
I mean, you guys pretty much nailed every single storyline there is. One thing,
I apologize.
No worries. At the beginning, you guys were talking about Jake Sanderson. I cannot gush about Jake Sanderson enough. He is so good, because the thing is, you mentioned the Jamie Drysdale debate kind of heading into that draft. The main thing was, if you want the offensive guy, you go with Jamie Drysdale. If you want the more defensive, big body shutdown guy, you go with Jake Sanderson. He does all that, and now he's also putting in points. He is going to be unbelievable for this Team USA team. And overall, I just really like their team all throughout. Yes, goaltending is definitely the question mark. But you look at these guys' stats, all 3 of their goalies have a plus 900 save percentage. They're all, yes, they aren't unbelievable. None of them are very hyped up or anything like that. But their numbers are serviceable, that I actually do have a lot of confidence if you put them behind this stacked offensive team and this stacked defensive team, that I think they definitely have a chance that this goaltending will be able to swim and thrive. Yes, they aren't big names going into the tournament, but I still think they're on such a good team that there's definitely hope that that goaltending duo or whoever they want to play can end up taking this Team USA team on a run. So I, for that reason, really like their roster. I like their team. I think they are going to do well in their division, even though they have to play against teams like Russia and Sweden. I think they should have the roster and they have the skill there that they should be one of the strongest teams in this tournament. Obviously, goaltending is a question mark, and we have to wait and see kind of how that ages, how that does. But purely on paper, I don't think their goaltending worries me as much as kind of I've seen the worry online. I think their numbers are solid enough. I mean, I have them in front of me, but Mario kind of touched upon them. The main thing is that they are plus 900 save percentage, and all of them have solid goals against all around the 2 goals against average area. So they're all solid goaltenders. I'm not too worried about any of them, as much as it's not like the teams we've seen in the past where they've had guys like Spencer Knight and things along those lines. I think their goaltending's serviceable enough that with the teams they have, I'm not very concerned with this Team USA. Or, okay, I'm going to say as a Canada fan, I am concerned with Team USA because they're going to be a really good team. Like, I'm not panicking.
Damn right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they're good.
No, I like the point that you bring up about Jake Sanderson, because I think Jake Sanderson is like one of the best defensemen. I don't think he is the best defenseman. We'll get to the best defenseman in our next team, but like you said about Jake Sanderson, the scouting report on him, he's the best at pinching in the draft, and in the tournament. And I know that sounds dumb, but it's a really big thing when you're able to prevent a zone exit, and then quickly turn that into offense, something that he does. He's super calculated with all of his moves, has a quick wrister that is effective. He scored him 6 goals in 15 games as a defenseman at North Dakota. Returning player, I should mention that too. He's bringing the I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but he's bringing back I guess some experience. He's already played 7 games. Now he's captain. He had 2 assists last year, so he wasn't much of an offensive factor. But I'd really like to see what he is going to be like. Maybe another guy that we probably should bring up is their 2022 draft prospect, Logan Cooley. He's not a super offensive guy, which is maybe what worries me about him going second overall, but he's still going to be a fantastic 2-way centerman. Really good at faceoffs, can play at all situations. Little guy who may not have the top end speed, but is explosive at times. So yeah, I think we've touched on everything.
Well,
United States.
I would disagree about Logan Cooley for a second.
All right, American, go on.
No, but I'm just saying he has 30 points in 20 games at the NTDP program, and he has like his ability to find open ice is what makes him a top pick. Like it's not like he made the team by accident. Like,
I'm not calling him bad.
No, but I'm saying like his offensive upside is great, and I think that's why he is ranked by Bob McKenzie as a top 3 pick in the draft.
Well, yeah, I'm never going to hate a Notre Dame commit, but I don't think looking at point totals in the U.S. national team.
No, I look at his highlights as well. Like he's a guy
fantastic.
that can he has a shot like a snapshot that can really fool goaltenders. I think that's why he's so highly regarded.
One thing that I did hear Scout from the Hockey News say about him was that he's a little guy, and although he needs to fill out, he's already fantastic and can play well. And we haven't even seen like half of what he's going to be. So I am excited to see if he can unlock that like game-changing offensive ability in conjunction with his ability to shut down the other team when defensive zone faceoffs. So that's something I guess to look out for. Have we said everything on the United States?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah. So let's get to the team where I really struggled ranking these two. The next team I have at number 4 is Finland. And I know a lot of people actually aren't that high on Finland, but I'm going to give Finland the benefit of the doubt just because of the roster that they're bringing back. They're a veteran team who is returning. I guess we should, I'm going to start with this guy, Topi Niemela. He is the Leafs prospect, and he's not even their captain. I should also probably talk about Ronnie Rovinen. I'll start with Topi Niemela because, my God, he was defenseman of the tournament last year, smooth skating defenseman. If I didn't mention it enough, Toronto Maple Leafs draft pick, 64th overall in 2020. He is leading all defensemen in tournaments all defenseman in scoring, I should say, with 24 points in 31 games in the top Finnish league called the Liga with Karpat. He's good at everything. I cannot wait for this guy. I made this reference last time, but Topi Niemela is the cake that your mom is putting in the oven that you can't have yet, even though you want to take a big scoop. You want to pick up a little spoon and you want to, dig into the cake batter and just eat it all, but you can't because that's unhealthy. That's Topi Niemela because he's going to be ready pretty soon. And I cannot wait for it. He's a smooth skating defenseman who may not have the size, but this is 2022. You don't need the size in the NHL, although it is a good necessity. Great offensive instincts. He's able to quickly turn pucks in the defensive zone, skate him out, pass him out, and make something from nothing. I should probably also mention another Leaf prospect, Ronnie Horovinen. Mm-hmm. He's got 16 points in 28 games in the Liga, drafted 59th overall in 2020. What a draft by Kyle Dubas, 2020 was. Ronnie Horovinen, I think 5'8". I don't have it in front of him, but he's a little guy at center, and he is the Finnish captain. So, Jared, you want to talk about the Finns at all?
Yeah, for sure. So overall, the main storyline, you did kind of mention it, is they're a very experienced group. They have 10 players from last year's tournament returning. So that's something that I think will definitely benefit their team as they've been here before. They know the whole gist of the tournament. I think that's definitely going to help them. Always, Finland is a very skilled team in this tournament. They're always a team to look out for. So they definitely will be with the top dogs. They're playing with Canada in that Group A. So aside from Canada, which they'll kind of be competing for 1 and 2, they don't have too many other teams that they have to worry about. Usually it's other teams that are worrying about Canada and Finland. So they're one of those dominant teams that should eat some of the weaker teams in that division alive. And that definitely is going to benefit them throughout this tournament. There's a lot of guys to keep an eye on in this tournament. You, of course, mentioned the Leafs prospects and Ronnie Hervoven, the captain, and Topi Niemela. So just some Leafs prospects to be very excited about. As well, there's a returning player, Casper Simon Tybell. He's an LA Kings prospect. So he's hoping to sort of make some noise as he did last season. Last tournament. He had 7 points in last year's tournament for Finland. So they have a lot of good players. They have some young guys as well. Brad Lambert, for example, who is, I'm just double checking this. Sorry, he's at 2023, or am I thinking of the wrong person?
Brad Lambert? Brad Lambert's 2022. 2022.
Right. Okay, sorry. I don't know why I was getting Bedard and Lambert confused. But whatever, yeah. So Brad Lambert, he's going to be right up there in the conversation with Shane Wright to be a high draft pick in this year's draft. He's so talented, such a good player. And overall, this team just doesn't have a lot of question marks. I think they are pretty solid all throughout. The one thing you can maybe ask about is their goaltending, but as well, their main goalie of Joel Blomqvist. He's currently having a great start in the Liga. He currently has a .964 save percentage in a small sample size, admittedly, but in his only 8 games that he's played, he has 3 shutouts already. So he's doing unbelievable, and he's very much going to be relied on if Finland wants to see any kind of success in this tournament. Other goalie named Levi Merolainen. He's currently on the Kingston Frontenacs, and he is struggling. He currently has an .897 save percentage with over 3 goals against. So maybe their backups have some question marks, but that one goalie, the starter of Joel Blomqvist, he should really be, the way he's playing right now, he very much has expectations to be great. And if he could continue that, I see no reason why this Finnish team shouldn't be able to be successful in this tournament. I like their team. They're very experienced, and I'm kind of excited to see how they do in that Group A against Canada.
Yeah, I like that point that you brought up about them being such an old team, because they are, and they're super experienced, which is a really big thing. But let's not sleep on their draft prospects that they have right now. Like you said, Brad Lambert, he's supposed to go in probably the lottery. Another guy that to talk about is Joaquin Kemmel. He's a winger who is just a pure goal scorer. The guy can shoot. I heard Rachel Dory talk about him a little bit, how he's a threat to score from, I think it was Rachel Dory. I might be wrong now that I think about it. He's a threat to score over from pretty much all over the ice, because he has some insane one-on-one skills where he can just kind of burn you. I don't know how it's going to translate to the NHL, but for this tournament and the time being, it's going to be a ton of fun. He has 18 points in 21 games for the JYP in the Liga, that being 12 goals in 21 games. for a guy who's in his draft year. That's like really, really, really good. So he's a guy to look out for. Mario, you got anything to add on Finland?
I mean, Jared covered a lot about the players aspect of it. I like to take more of an approach with the team. The Finns are, like you mentioned, a very experienced squad, and they have this thing in their back pocket, very sharp, that can stab a lot of teams and really get a team moving. Russia 4-1 victory for bronze last year. This team knows how to upset, and they're usually a very talented team, so not much room for upsets. But if they ever have to get into that situation where they have to tackle the heavier teams, which, hey, Canada's right beside you in that division, you might have to tackle them at one point. They have the ability to do that. So I think from a team standpoint, this squad is very dangerous and can attack you from so many different angles. And I'm going to approach Brad Lambert just very briefly. He's got to find his footing. I know he's been struggling a little bit in his season back with his team, but this is a big opportunity for him to show NHL teams what he can bring. You mentioned he's going to be probably a lottery pick. Let's see what he can do. Let's see him reestablish that and make it known to the world that he is truly a lottery pick. Because we see a lot of players throughout history of this tournament either really rise to the occasion, boost their draft stock, or you can see it crumble to the ground at many times. Brad Lambert's going to be found in the middle right now. Let's see if he can soar or if he's going to go the other way around. So I don't know. He's a big guy. He's got a lot of talent there. And I think he has the potential to be the spark plug for this team to get everyone else going and maybe get another medal for this Finland team.
Yeah, I like that. I want to touch on Brad Lambert a little bit more because I like how you say that, he could really pick it up. And another reason that I think he could really pick it up is because he's actually a returning player. You don't see this very often where guys are in their draft years, but they're still returning to the World Juniors. Like he could fully play another year next year if he doesn't make the NHL. So last season as a double underager at the World Juniors, 4 points in 7 games. That's like a fantastic stat line for a guy who was literally a 15-year-old kid playing with almost grown men. So, Evan, do you have anything else to maybe say on Finland? I know we've kind of hit on everything.
I think the U.S. is better than them.
I don't think he's biased at all, guys. No bias at all. None.
No, I'll be
kidding. No. I think that's completely fair to say. I'm giving you shit here.
I don't think 1 in 5 is that far off. I really don't. This could be one of the most interesting placements of I'm so whoever gets to the goal, whoever gets to the medal games should already be very proud of themselves because if you're one of the top 4 teams at this tournament, it speaks volume, especially of how your country develops. So look, I think Finland, they're always a powerhouse. And to Mario's point, I did not see them upsetting Russia last year. That shocked me that they took down Russia in such a comfortable fashion too. 4-1 is very comfortable. And Brad Lambert, obviously Shane Wright can be viewed as a consensus number 1. I would say that the one issue I have is that, remember how Capo Caco and Jack Hughes, it's very I'm getting that same vibe, but then Capo Caco thrived at the World Championships and Jack Hughes kind of took a back seat. I think that's going to happen again with Shane Wright and Brad Lambert, but I still think they're going to view Shane Wright because Brad Lambert has more of an opportunity to thrive on Finland than Shane Wright does with Canada. And I think that's why Jack Hughes was also taken ahead of Capo Caco still, because Jack Hughes was on such a powerhouse team as well, where it was hard for him to kind of make a name for himself, but he was still finding ways to contribute. So I think if Brad Lambert just plays his style, I know he's been struggling, but I still don't think it would be enough to get him at number 1.
Yeah, I like that comparison too, because Shane Wright is apparently he's penciled in as the number 1 center for Canada, which I don't know how long that's going to last as an underrated.
Not with Mason McTavish.
Mason McTavish is there. I know Kent Johnson slid over to the wing. Perfetti slid over to the wing, but we're not talking about Canada yet. We're going to maybe continue talking about Finland a little bit. I like that comparison that you made. If we just want to quickly brief over a couple other players that they got, Kasper Simontoval, like you said, guy to watch out for. We already said Ronnie Rovinen. Emil Viro, he's a draft pick to the Detroit Red Wings. Smooth skater, left-handed. probably going to be Niemela's D partner. So that's a guy to watch out for, maybe to rack up the points playing with Niemela. They came third last year, so this team can do it with a bunch of returning players. We know that. Can they do it again is the big question. So I think we've hit on everything of the Finns. We got 3 teams left, and we're going to the one that I think is right beside them. I could be mistaken. I'm not. I pride myself at being decent at geography. Admittedly, I'm not 100% on this. It is Sweden. The blue and are they close? I think I feel like they're right beside. Like
I don't got the globe beside me now. I can't point
I
it out.
failed AP
I think
World.
they are. I think they are. I think they're literally attached. Like, I think they border each other.
This is so sad from a viewer standpoint. These guys don't know where Finland, Sweden is, and they're in university. Jesus Christ.
I know. I'm pretty sure they border each other. But anyways, let's talk about the Swedes.
1 second. The best thing about you guys trying to figure out the geography, you completely missed what Evan said. He just sadly goes into the camera. Yeah, guys, I failed AP World.
Oh.
That one killed me.
Oh my god, that is shocking, Evan.
Adamo, can we give a shout out to our 1% of fans on the Lease Line podcast that are from Finland?
Oh my god, we should have mentioned that.
I wanted to mention that. Don't worry about it, but we got to give them some love. You guys have a good team to look forward to.
Yeah, I had something typed into Google Translate. I had thank you typed into Google Translate, but I didn't say it last time we were talking about it just because I didn't want to try it because I don't want to butcher it. If anyone wants to maybe say thank you to them in Finnish while I start to talk about we're going to go with neighbors. I think they're neighbors. I'm going to go map of Europe.
God, we need to confirm about this, man.
Yeah,
it's
pissing me off.
Get this out of the way. It's a brick wall
really
holding
pissing me off. Because
we're about to lose our 1% of Finnish subscribers.
Sorry,
very quick.
Subscribers. Let's see. Are they? Yes, they are. They are.
Yes.
Sweden is in the middle of Norway and Finland. I was right. But anyways, let's talk about the 3. I was gonna try and pronounce it in Swedish. It's like Tre Konar, the 3 crowns, Sweden. They finished 5th last year, which is actually a pretty disappointing go around. They're going to be led this year by Alexander Holtz, who is a New Jersey Devils draft pick, 7th overall. He actually played 6 games for the Devils this year. He's supposed to be like Jack Hughes' wingman, his partner in crime, because he's that sniper. He is probably the most pure lethal goal scorer in the tournament. But last year, he didn't really show it. Only had 3 points in 5 games, which is a little disappointing for a guy playing in the Swedish top 6 this year with the Utica Comets of the AHL. He's got 10 points in 11 games. He's going to be their guy to go out for. And I think he is a really big storyline with Sweden. I think if Alexander Holtz cannot break out, I don't think this Sweden team is capable. But the more likely option, because Alexander Holtz is that good, Sweden's going to go far. And so that's the main storyline. Can they finally go do this for gold? And will Alexander Holtz break out? Jared, you want to answer any of those 2?
Well, I think Alexander Holtz will break out. And overall, I think going into this tournament, I'd have Sweden as one of the strongest teams. I think they have, as you mentioned, guys like Alexander Holtz, who's an absolute sniper. He's returning to the roster and is hoping to sort of make some noise after maybe a solid tournament from last year, but he definitely has more that he can bring. As well, they have guys like Sharks first rounder, William Eklund, who's looking to kind of step up offensively as well. On defense, they're strong as well with guys like Simon Edvinsson, who's a Red Wings first rounder who was taken right before the Sharks pick from the 2021 season. He's looking to take on a major role in the Sweden defensive core. So overall, I really like their lineup. Like, they have a lot of star players offensively and defensively. And I honestly am really liking what I'm seeing with this team. The one thing which I think it's one of their greatest strengths, but as well going into the tournament, it is going to be one of their biggest question marks, because I think this team lives and dies on the back of Jesper Wallstedt, who's their goaltender. I think he's unbelievable, and I think he should have a great tournament. He was a high draft pick from Minnesota. I'll get into his stat line in a minute. But I think this is a situation where very much they should be a really good team. There's a lot of hype surrounding the team because they're just such a stacked roster all throughout. They had a disappointing year last year, and now they have a little bit of pressure on them to kind of break out of that and have a strong year. I personally think they will, because they're just such a stacked team all throughout. And if their goaltender plays the way he should, there's no reason to say that Sweden can't have a chance of even going for gold and being one of the strongest teams by the end of the tournament. But yeah, overall, I'd say goaltending, as much as it's definitely a strength, it is a little bit of a question mark because there's always a question of if you're purely relying on one goalie, what if he doesn't show up? Then how's the team going to do? But no, I really like their goalie. I like Jesper Wallstedt. He currently has a .923 save percentage, 1.82 goals against average, in 17 games with Luleå of the SHL. So he's doing really well right now. He's having a great season, and there's a lot of hype surrounding him. He's hyped up to be one of the best goaltending prospects in the world right now. There's obviously a few other names in that mix, guys like Yaroslav Askarov, for example. But yeah, he's in the conversation for one of the next, like a future goaltender that one day will step into the NHL and should be really dominant. He's a great goaltender. And I think if he could show up, I think if all of their players could kind of show up and play the way that they have the potential to do, I see no reason to doubt Sweden heading into this tournament.
Yeah, I like the point that you bring up about Jesper Wallstedt because I think he's the best goaltending tournament in the holy cow, the best goaltending prospect in the tournament, and that's I argue it's a fact. Even though the Russians have Yaroslav Askarov, Wallstedt's doing things that Askarov wasn't doing at his age. I think Minnesota has been freaking unreal at drafting recently. They absolutely stole him. I think he fell into like the 20s. It was crazy. Another guy that fell that I want to touch on is Fabian Lysell. He is going to probably be on that top right wing the top 6 right wing. That's probably Holt's spot on the first line. Fabian Lysell has 28 points in 23 games for the Vancouver Giants in WHL. And he's the type of guy that if anyone's going to pull off a Michigan on Sweden, it's probably going to be him because he's not afraid to do wild and crazy shit with the puck because he can. He's super creative and he uses it to his advantage. He's a willing passer, but he can shoot. He's got really good shooting mechanics, according to certain scouts. And based off the highlights I've seen, yeah, the kid can rip it. So, Evan, what do you think? Do you think Sweden can go all the way?
I definitely do because I think it's goaltending that definitely wins you championships. And Sweden has that. I mean, I don't know if you guys mentioned Isaac Rosen. He was a draft pick of this past year's draft. He's a great potential X Factor wildcard that could even push Sweden to the top. And to your point on Holtz, I swear to God, if he doesn't break out now, when's the time? If you're New Jersey, you're watching him like a hawk because he's someone who you were hoping would be in the NHL with you right now, and it just hasn't worked out that way, where he spent most of his time in Utica playing in the AHL. And I think this is perfect for him just to maybe gain confidence again. Up and down, obviously the confidence of playing in the NHL, but not really contributing as maybe you hope to envision. But no, I really like Sweden's roster. They always muster up an incredible team. Oh my God, Jesper Wallstedt. Boston was trying to get him in the draft. You notice Boston traded up and they actually traded up as close as right behind Minnesota. And then Minnesota took him. Yeah. So that was kind of a punch in the gut for Boston there. And they're trying to figure out how to replace Tuukka Rask. But no, I think they got a great squad. I would just say that the forwards, I don't know, they got some top 6, but I'm not a fan of lines 3 and 4. So we just got to see what's going on.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I said this team is going to go as far as Alexander Holtz and Jesper Wallstedt takes them. This is Alexander Holtz's third. It's his third go around at this. He played in the World Juniors before COVID even existed. And he hasn't really got it done. 5 points in 7 games there as an underager, which is good. Last year, 3 points in 5 games with only 1 goal. Not good enough. This guy has all the tools, and we're just if it's not going to happen this year, I would maybe start to worry a little bit. But Mario, what do you got to say on Alexander Holtz or even just the Sweden? What are you expecting from this team? Because I think they're pretty polarizing going into the tournament.
Yeah, so before I get into Sweden, I'm going to play a little bit of a game with you guys of do you remember? Do you remember one of the craziest records broken in last World Juniors? And if so, can you name me one? What was the craziest record you remember getting broken in last World Juniors?
I actually do know this, I think.
And what is it?
Go
ahead.
Didn't they lost the round robin game, right?
Oh, they did. Do you know the streak that it came to an end to?
62.
Somewhat close. 54 straight round robin wins for this program. Yeah, crazy. And they lost to the Russians in overtime. 5-4 was your final. Why am I bringing this up? Well, they know how to win round robin games, but now they have to face some hardships in the round robin this season. In the knockout rounds alone this year, they have to face the U.S., which, as we have more than preached, have a very talented and deep team, and those same Russians, not the same team, but the same program and the same coach. These Russians are looking to do the exact same thing they did last year in the round robin. So this is what I'm kind of getting at with Sweden. Many years they cruise through the round robin. This year they're going to be facing a big test. I still think they're going to get through, but they're going to be faced with some adversity. How do they react with that adversity? I think it's going to serve them quite well. I mean, it's very easy to cruise through something and then go to a certain stage like many other teams do and say, oh, we could just take the pedal off the gas a little bit. Sweden has done that for many years, and that's been one of the reasons why they can't ever get that extra mile and take that gold medal home. This year, I think they're going to face some adversity within the round robin, and I think it's going to serve them, like I mentioned, quite well. Going back to Holtz here, he's an extremely effective player. I think this is the World Juniors, and you mentioned his third straight World Juniors appearance. He's got to be as effective as the guys around him are. I think they're going to, both the team is going to assist with him in his development this year, and I think he's going to take that next step. In New Jersey, you mentioned, Evan, they're going to be watching him extremely closely, and as they should. He's a terrific player. He's got to put up some terrific numbers. All I got to say for Sweden is don't run Holtz into the ground. Don't rely on him very strictly. Have some other players, and I know they do. Use some other players to your advantage and don't rely on this youngster, or I should say this World Junior vet, to lead you to the promised land, because if you're going that route, I don't think it's going to work. So dominate in the round robin, face the adversity, and maybe Holtz on the good side of things will come up successful and put up some points that we all think he should.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic answer. If we're gonna stay on the route of maybe little mini games, last time that the World Juniors were held in Edmonton was obviously last year, but I don't really count last year, even though the United States won. They deservedly won. The time before that, it was held in Edmonton in 2012. That was the last time a team not called Finland, United States, or Canada won, and it was Sweden. Sweden, their last gold medal came in 2012, if that wasn't clear enough. And it came in Calgary and Edmonton. So who knows? Maybe it could be Sweden's year. I think we said everything on Sweden. Yeah,
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Let's move on up to a interesting team.
Start with it.
Yeah. Okay. So the Russians brought over a team that featured not a single player from North America. Jan Kuznetsov probably being the headliner, who was cut from this Russian team. But that's not to say they brought over a bad team. It's just to say they brought over an interesting team. Another thing that I found absolutely hilarious and random was they don't have a single righty. They have one righty, and it's their starting goaltender, Yaroslav Askarov. Other than that, 8 left-handed defensemen, all left-handed forwards. And they're not bad forwards, but I'm going to start with Jared, because I think if I remember correctly, he had a little opinion on this. What are your thoughts on, cutting the North Americans out? And we'll stick to hockey, because we know there is ulterior motive here. We'll just flat out and say it. But from a hockey standpoint, what do you think?
Well, I just think it's kind of ridiculous. And again, I'm not that familiar with too many of the Russian prospects that are playing in North America. So I can't exactly go into depth on who specifically was cut from the team. But the fact
Daniil
that
Chaika was a name. He's a big prospect.
There was a lot of big names that ultimately ended up being cut. And I just think it's unfortunate that a lot of people who maybe had the skill to make this team were cut because of those sort of politics and those ulterior motives that you're mentioning. So again, we don't exactly know the political side, and we're not going to get into the full political side of that, but I think it's unfortunate that a lot of people that had the skill were kind of screwed over a bit for the pure reason that they aren't playing in their home area of Russia, and they decided to move over to North America for just a decision that they thought was the best for them, and they made a decision because that's where they thought they were going to get the best chance, and they're sort of being punished for that by being taken off this team. So I think it's unfortunate that, again, I can't tell you exactly all the names that were cut off, but there's some pretty big names that probably should have been on this team and were unfortunately, I guess I want to use the word of screwed over, or just that they were punished. They were kicked off
Yeah.
the team purely for the reason that they're Russian but playing in North America. So I don't like it. I don't like to see things like that. Like at the end of the day, I think it should all be a hockey decision. If for hockey reasons you decided your best roster was the one they constructed, then fine. But it's pretty obvious from the fact that every single player playing in North America was kicked off the team. I think it's pretty clear, like, that would be quite the coincidence if that was the case. Like, it's pretty clear that it was a decision to kick off everyone. It wasn't just, oh, well, we're making the best team possible. Oh, look at that. It just so happens that it's an all Russian team. Like, it's pretty obvious that the people playing in North America were singly picked and, oh, we're just going to move you over there. So I don't like to see things like that, but whatever, that's the team they ended up making. And to talk about their team, they did end up constructing a pretty good team despite the fact that they did that. I don't love to see things like that, but whatever. They're a good team. They're going to be a hard team to play against throughout this tournament. They do happen to be pretty young and inexperienced, I'd say. So for that reason, there's always going to be some kind of question marks until they start playing. We don't exactly know how things are going to work out with them, but one of the most exciting, in my opinion, players to watch out of this Russian team is a player by the name of Matvey Michkov. So he's a 2023 prospect and is hyped up to be one of the next Russian superstars. He's hyped up as much to be the next best Russian player since Alex Ovechkin. So there's a lot of big names and a lot of hype surrounding this team. Again, we don't exactly know how it's going to work, but there's a lot to be excited about when looking at this team. Their defense as well is fairly strong, but given the fact that it's all left-handed, there's always going to be question marks about how they kind of manage the lineups, how they arrange things. Even the power play, I'm very curious to see how that's going to work out, because always on power play, there's a question of, are you going to leave someone open for a one-timer? Like, there's always questions about how you kind of manage it, given someone's handedness. So that's going to be, I think, very interesting to take a note of how it actually, if it is even noticeable, the fact that they're all left-handed. So I think there is some kind of interesting storylines. And then, of course, the biggest thing you have to consider, similar to what we said with Sweden, Russia is going to live and die, in my opinion, on the back of Yaroslav Askarov. He's their goaltender. He's very much hyped up as well as Jesper Wallstedt as being one of the most hyped up goaltending prospects in the NHL right now. He's a Nashville Predators prospect, drafted in the first round of 2020. And he's a great goalie. He currently has a .904 save percentage and a .201 goals against. In just a small stint with the KHL. So again, it's not a large sample size, but still he has a lot of hype surrounding him. So it's definitely going to be interesting how this Russian team does. Of course, there's politics and whatever, but as a team, they did end up constructing a pretty good team, despite the fact that I do think they screwed over some Russian guys playing in North America. But whatever, that's the team they decided to construct. There's all kind of politics surrounding that. They are a good team that I think will be pretty scary going into this tournament.
It's really unfortunate talking about how guys wanted to come over to North America and they get screwed over. I made this point in our group chat that we famously reference, like God knows how many times. Check it off the bingo card. We reference this group chat. Sebastian Giovinco, if you all don't know, we are a Toronto-based podcast, and Sebastian Giovinco came to Toronto FC. Sebastian Giovinco. Even the American knows. Look at that. That's how big he was. Sebastian Giovinco was one of the best players in Italy. I wouldn't say one of the best in Italy. He was like a reserve on Juventus, who was the best team in Italy. And he comes over to Canada, and he's the MVP of the MLS. He's setting records. He won I think it's called the Landon Donovan MVP. He unanimously. He's a fantastic player. And then he's cut from Team Italy and has never played for the Italian national team again. Italy has a lack of Italy didn't have strikers at the time, and Giovinco was one of the best strikers in Italy, and he's forever banned from the Italian team. He was playing in Saudi now. Rumors are he's heading back to Toronto. But this isn't a soccer podcast. I just want to point out that this happens. Teams don't like it, or countries don't like it when you leave them for the big rich countries, I guess perceived big rich countries like Canada and the United States. But I'll hand it to you, Evan. Talk to me about Matvey Michkov, because he is one heck of a young man, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, he's gross. I would say he's the next coming of like Evgeny Malkin and Alexander Ovechkin. And the fact that he's still not draft eligible for another year or two is just absolutely baffling to me, because I think he would be I don't know if he would be a lottery pick, but I definitely think he'd be a first round pick in this year's draft. I think he's that great, but I don't want the critics to get so hard on him, considering the fact that he's only 16 years old and he's going up against guys that have already developed, and like, there's not much more room for them to develop, but there's a lot more room for Michkov to develop into. And I think he's already playing in the KHL, which is just baffling to me. And that's just crazy. And it's just, that's how it goes in Russia, where guys and he's playing with Ceska too. And that's not that's not a bad team. That's a pretty freaking good team. I think they got like Vadim Chipichov there. That's where Kovalchuk used to play. Datsuk was there. I mean, like, they got some boys there. So I'm really excited for him. Like the Russian Shane Wright. I'm excited for that team to see what they can do.
Yeah, I threw it to you because I thought you'd have, and you delivered. Like you said, you hit the nail right on the head on Matvei Michkov. He's going to be a fantastic player. And if he was 18 years old and like still had the skill, he probably, like you said, he probably would be a draft pick like this year, like a first round one, which is ridiculous to think that he's eligible in not next year, but the year after that. He had 13 points. 5 points in 13 games. Were you going to say something? Or
no, I was just going to say it's crazy that
that
there's
ridiculous.
still 2 more years left before he gets drafted, and like guys already want him on the team.
Yeah, he scored 12 goals in 7 games at the Helinka Gretzky tournament in August.
He was great.
He's ridiculous. He's nuts. He's the best Russian prospect. Scouts say the best Russian prospect since Alexander Ovechkin, but has a play style like Nikita Kucherov. And that is disgusting to think about, because could you imagine Alex Ovechkin with like the skill and like how good Alex Ovechkin is, but like the skill set of Nikita Kucherov in the sense of, I'm going to dangle you, I'm going to put it like through my legs, cross ice pass, or I'll snipe. Like he has that killer instinct in his eyes. That's something I noticed, like my own like assessment of Matvei Michkov. He'll just kind of randomly turn into, I'm fucking pissed and I'm just going to go score on you. Like I'm going to pull a Michigan. I think he's going to pull a Michigan. If there's anyone if there's anyone that is going to score Michigan, it is going to be Matvei Michkov. I know I said that about, I forgot who I said it about. I think it was a Swedish guy, Lisell. It'll be Matvei Michkov. He's so good, and I feel bad for leaving out some of the other Russian players, but this is the guy I want to gloat about because he is 16 years old and he's going to be playing in that top 6. Mario, do you have anything to add on like the rest of Russia?
The rest of Russia is going to have, like Jared said, heavily rely on Yaroslav Askarov. He must shine. Good goaltenders will not win you a World Junior Championship. Great goaltenders will. He's got to be a great one. He's had an up and down sort of career in the World Juniors, if you want to say that, representing his country. He's a Nashville product, so he's already drafted. And I believe it's his last year of eligibility in the World Juniors. So it's his time now to show what he can do. Because quite frankly, and personally, I don't believe he's shown his true colors of what he can and cannot do, or more so what he cannot do in this World Juniors Championship. If Russia wants to be good, you got to rally around this guy. I want to say one thing about Matvei Michkov. Of
course.
If he don't rely on him, if you have to rely on him, that is, I think that's going to be your biggest weakness. If he's the leader on your team, that is surprising as much as it is concerning. Because what is his age? I know he is in 05.
He's in 05.
He's in 05, so 16.
He's 17. Sorry, he's an 04, but the way it works, he's like a late 04, so he's technically,
exactly. Same thing. So he's extremely young, and putting responsibility and that great of a responsibility in a guy that young's hands, it doesn't usually turn out well. Ask my work career at down in Bolton doing jobs around here. Doesn't work out so well. I've crashed into many things with cars, and it's not a great sign. But again, no, if you're relying on this kid, and he's going to be a terrific kid, I can guarantee you that. And I'm going to spark a debate with you, Adamo, in just a second, because man, this is going to be a fun one to look out for if it so does come to fruition in the World Juniors. But no, this guy's going to be terrific. Just don't rely on him too heavily. In Russia, you will be fine. But if you do rely on him too heavily and you don't get the production from Yaroslav Askarov, the Russians have finished second and third place 8 times the last 10 years. And I've sort of accumulated memories of the Russians with crying. If you have to rely on these 2 players, there's going to be a little bit more crying for Russian fans and Russian players.
Yeah, that's a really good point you bring up, because you don't really want to rely on your youngsters when you have guys who are, born in 2002. Last year they came 4th, and obviously the storyline going into this is, can Yaroslav Askarov finally take the Russians over that hump? Because if you remember, I think it was last year, where like the joke about Askarov was the guy couldn't hold on to his stick.
Yep.
Like I feel like he dropped that thing like 6 times in one game. It was ridiculous. Maybe to give some shine to the other Russian prospects, Fedor Svechkov is regarded as the best defensive prospect in the world, defensive forward prospect, I should say, because he is a forward right now. He's playing in, I didn't write it down, but the one that I don't write down, I have to look up. But he's got, I think that's the MHL, which is Russia's version of the AHL with SKA, 11 points in 15 games, 2 goals, 9 assists. He played 4 games in the KHL this year, but he's not really known for that offense. He's good at supporting teammates off the puck. He has good hockey sense and he uses it to get into open ice. But his main thing is being a defensively responsible forward who can play the center of the wing. And I think we kind of hit it. I know Marat Kuznetsov is probably going to be one of their best forwards. He's a guy to look out for. He's 5'11", 176. Not a super big guy, but a lot of skill. He has 11 points in 29 KHL games this year. Again, with St. Petersburg, I feel like everyone is there. But I think, have we said everything on Russia? Should we move on to our
There's one more
final
kid, Danila Yurov.
yes.
He's a 2022 prospect. So should I?
Yeah. Go for it. Of course.
Okay, so as I mentioned, there's a kid. He's going to be, obviously won't go first overall this year. It's Shane Wright's draft, but he's going to be not too far behind. He's kind of going to be somewhere in the, I'd say after lottery range of somewhere from like 4 to 10 area. He'll be somewhere in there. So this guy, he's a right winger. He's very skilled, but also he's a hard worker. The main kind of scouting report on him is he's a workhorse, but as well, he has the skills like those top players. So picture a Zach Hyman, Michael Bunting-esque player in terms of his workmanship, but as well, he could dangle like Mitch Marner. So I don't know exactly if that's the most accurate scouting report, but in general, he has skills, but as well as very hardworking. And I think that's just such a good kind of assessment to have, is that he basically checks off both boxes of the sense that he could play smart more on the defensive side of the game and kind of play like a smart player, but as well, he could kind of have the skill to drive a play by himself. So there's a lot to like with this kid. He did have, I was going to say a brief stint, but no, actually he had quite a stint in the KHL. He had 21 games and didn't record a point. So that, I guess, is a little bit of a knock on him. He kind of has to learn to play with tougher opponents, which will come. There's a lot of examples of that where people don't thrive at the highest league just yet. They need to kind of work at it more, work hard, and eventually one day he will be ready and he will be skilled. There's not a lot of concern there. But then when he was sent down to the MHL, which I believe is like the equivalent of like the AHL to the NHL, I think that's like the lower league. He now is doing very well. He has 12 points in 6 games on, it's called Stalin Magnitogorsk. Okay, perfect.
Magnitogorsk.
Yes.
Yeah, not the best pronunciation. That's my bad. But he's overall, he's a very skilled guy. He's someone to kind of keep an eye on when looking at this Russian team. And overall, we've said everything, I believe, aside from that. Russia is going to be a good team. That's going to be a great player. And there's a lot to like with this Russian team moving into this tournament.
Yeah. Mario, you want to?
Let me give you a little tidbit of, let me help you with your hosting a little bit here. It's your debut and it's going perfectly fine. How about I give you an easy segue into your next one? Does the journey, the debate, and the battle between Matvei Michkov and his other player playing in the World Juniors this year, or maybe playing in the World Juniors, Connor Bedard, is that going to start up this year?
I couldn't tell you, Mario, just because Connor Bedard is probably not going to play much.
That's where I was going to.
It sucks to say. I have a feeling he maybe can work it, like his way in, but as of right now, he's the 14th forward behind Logan Stankoven, and we should probably just formally introduce it. We're talking about this team over here, Team Canada.
Sir.
The usual favorites, like Jared and his like red flannel, as Canadian as it gets, Mario. I think that was done intentionally too.
I had red.
Canadian.
I wore red.
Canadian. It's a Canadian brand on the back of my hat.
Well, I have a Canadian scarf, but I left it back where y'all are, so because I didn't need it, obviously. What?
Do they even sell scarves there? Like
It was actually
winter ones?
from an LA Kings giveaway night.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's why. But getting back
That's why
to
there were so many.
to Team Canada. I'll just let Evan go. Actually, you know what? Let's start with the defensive core, and then I'll give it to Evan. This is another team like Russia where they only took lefties on defense, which is kind of weird. Especially considering you left a right-handed defenseman. Who would that be, Mr. Evan Davis? It would be
Brant Clark,
Brant Clark, LA Kings draft pick, which is weird because I like by all accounts, Brant Clark is a phenomenal human being. He is like a nice person, never had any locker room cancers. So unless something happened off the ice or politically, or maybe an undisclosed injury, which can't be because he was just playing with Barry, they just straight up left him off the team, which is really weird considering he was not only a right-handed defenseman, and they like literally don't have any on their roster. He's by far their best defenseman, and even if he's not, he's their number 2 defenseman behind like Hayden Gooley or Carson Lambos, or even Owen Power. I forgot about him, but that's actually who I wanted to turn it to. Evan, do you want to talk about Canada's defense? Maybe tell us why or what's going on here with Brant Clark, and maybe talk about Owen Power too. That's the big thing.
Yeah. Now that I'm like kind of looking at this roster a little bit more, I'm kind of understanding why they didn't take Brant Clark, because I'm just look, all the respect to Brant Clark, I actually don't know how much he would have played, because I do think guys like Carson Lambos, Caden Gould, Owen Power are a lot better than him. And I just don't think that it really, like, obviously depth is a key, and you want to have you want to have an abundance of riches. Maybe it was also just something like him and his agent looked at it like, I'm going to this tournament, I'm most likely going to be the 4th defenseman, maybe even the 5th. Where's the worth? Rather than continuing to play in Barrie, where he's the captain of the Colts, playing number 1 minutes, and maybe they figured that is more of a development for him. I mean, he'll definitely be there next year because Owen Power will most likely be in Buffalo. Carson Lambos is a Minnesota Wild draft pick. He'll most likely be maybe in Iowa or even in Minnesota. Caden Gooley, Montreal, he'll probably be in Laval or in Montreal, given the fact that Shea Weber's gone, so they really need another defenseman there. I mean, Owen Power's been great. I think the best thing that happened to him was staying in Michigan, which is what every draft pick did. Like Luke Hughes, Kent Johnson, Matty Beniers, they all stayed back. And I think that was just so perfect because obviously we know what's going on in Buffalo. I don't think that toxicity, and even just being in Rochester, like, I just don't think that was the best for him. And even just from a confidence standpoint, like, you're playing in Michigan, you're with your boys, you're putting up points, and the coach of Michigan is incredible. Like, I've met him personally. He's a great guy. Like, he scares the hell out of me, but he's like, I could see how like guys would want to go back and play for him. And Carson Lambos, I think, was a really, I think he was almost overlooked. I really like his defensive ability. I think Minnesota has a great option. You know, Jared Spurgeon's getting up there in age. I think Lambos could definitely come in there. Can I go into the offense, or are we
why not? Shoot. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this kind of leads me into my one issue with Canada is just lack of experience at the World Juniors, because they only are returning, I believe it's Cole Perfetti, I believe Mason McTavish. I'm trying to remember who the other one is. Maybe Owen Power is the other one, but I don't think
Power didn't. They're bringing back. I don't remember Maverick Bork. I think Dylan Gunther is a returning guy.
Gunther, maybe, yeah. But so they only have 3 guys that returned. Obviously, credit to them. A majority of them are in the NHL or playing. Like, the teams just didn't want to let them go. So, and that could maybe also be the situation with Brant Clark, that Barrie just didn't want to let him go, and he's already played with Canada. But my one issue is just lack of experience, but they got a lot of talent on this team. I think they definitely can pull it together. They still continue to have an abundance of riches. I remember, if you want to talk about the group chat, I do think Cole Perfetti can definitely win tournament MVP. He's been tearing it up in Manitoba. I think he was he I can't remember his junior team off the top of my head. my notes got taken away from me, but he's been tearing it up. He tore it up in juniors. Jake Neighbors, St. Louis draft pick, fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Mason McTavish. I mean, the Ducks have, you want to talk about abundance of riches. The Ducks have an abundance of riches with prospects. Mason McTavish was a fantastic pick. Kent Johnson's tearing it up at Michigan. I mean, they got some guys, and the fact that Connor Bedard somehow made this team, he probably won't play a lot. I would say anywhere between 5 and 6 minutes, and I think I'm being generous with that. I don't think he's really going to play. I think it's just perfect for him to be around those guys and to practice with those guys. I think he has zero use on the ice in terms of in games, but what it could do for him is incredible.
Well, I wouldn't call it zero. I think he's still a really good player.
Oh yeah, but he's not going to be impactful.
Yes,
is what I mean.
I don't think he'll be. He's still probably not.
That's what I meant. I shouldn't have worded it like that, but I don't think he's going to be impactful.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, Shane Wright, Shane Wright is not having, wasn't having the greatest season, I should say. In this last 5 games, he's put up, I think 11 points, which is friggin' ridiculous. But to start the season, he was a little bit cold. He's kind of picking it up now. You want to talk about Shane Wright a little bit? For anyone who doesn't know, he's going number 1 this year. And I know Jared's mentioned it a couple times, but why, Jared?
Just in general, he does everything right. You watch him play, he's just so smart out there. He's so skilled. Like he's dominant. He plays more, I guess, of I want to say sort of a defensive style, because he's not very flashy necessarily when you watch him, as much as he has his fair share of highlights. He very much plays like a smart, sort of like a defensive forward. He kind of, when he's out there, he reminds people by watching his highlights and him skating, whatever. He's not necessarily the fastest, but he looks a lot like a John Tavares, Patrice Bergeron kind out there. But he just plays such a smart style of the game while also putting up a ridiculous amount of points as well. And as much as, he was slow to start the year a little bit, so people want to create a storyline, there's going to be a storyline heading into the draft. Like, someone's going to have someone who's projected to maybe go slightly behind Shane Wright they're going to have a good tournament, and all of a sudden someone's going to try to create a storyline of, did Shane Wright get played out of the first overall pick? Shane Wright's going first overall. Like they tried to create a Matthews Laine debate. They tried to create a debate, but no, he just is such a good player. Like I don't exactly know specifically what it is about him. Just watching his highlights, looking at his stats, it appears he does everything right. And he's just one of these players that's been hyped up and talked about for years. Like there's some players that just all while they're growing up, maybe they're even 14, 15, their name's on the radar in TSN. Like already years ago, Shane Wright's name was being brought up. He got exceptional status for a reason, and he's going to slot in on this Team Canada team. Hopefully he has a good tournament. Hopefully helps his draft stock. If he doesn't maybe play as good as we're expecting, obviously people are going to try to bring up a storyline, but I think no matter what, he is the solidified best player out of this draft. Whatever team ends up getting him, they are going to be very thankful for years to come, because he just is that good. He's such a smart player. He's very skilled. He does everything right, and I really like him. I'm really excited to get to watch him play more on Team Canada and kind of find out what specifically it is about him, because I'll admit, like, I haven't watched him too much. I don't exactly know what necessarily stands out, but it's just something about him when you watch him play. You could tell that guy is going to be a special player in the league, and I am so excited to get to watch him more throughout this tournament.
Yeah, I think during that Hlinka Gretzky tournament this summer, we saw, him and Connor Bedard absolutely tear it up. He scored boatloads of goals. And if I remember correctly, he broke something in his body and had a severe illness and I think an eye infection. Like he was ridiculous. He seriously was battling like 3 things.
No, I'm laughing that he's still tore, like he's still destroyed.
He's ridiculous. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard him speak in an interview, but holy crap, we got another Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby-esque persona on our hands, because he is one of the, like, no offense, kid, and I say kid because you're friggin' younger than me, and I've watched you play, like, as a kid. You're boring as heck off the ice, and I don't want to attack you, but that's not a bad thing. I'm not like, it's just he's not a flashy player on the ice, not a flashy player on the ice. He goes about his business. He talks like a pro, and he's really good. And speaking of really good things, the betting odds to win this tournament will start in 4th, Finland at plus 697, which is actually pretty decent odds. Third, I should say, Russia plus 489. I don't know why these are such wild numbers, but plus 489 for Russia. Second, plus 33.7. Holy crap, 379 for the United States. And the betting favorites are the Canadians at plus 125 odds to win the gold.
Stats.
Mario, do you agree with Canada being the favorites? And do you think they can?
I do agree that they are the favorites. If they can, that is also something that has to be answered. And you guys mentioned all the names on the back of the jerseys. I think I'm going to go closer to the name on the front of the jersey. That is what Canada has to bring to this tournament. Now, everyone wants to see the storyline written in the stars, the articles, all that stuff about Canada making the finals and snagging revenge against the U.S. and winning that gold. U.S. getting silver, laughing in the faces of our fellow brother up on the screen there, Evan Davis. That's what everyone wants to see. All the fans want to see Canada beat U.S. Well, it's not that easy. And just like last season, they're going to need some big guys to step up in order to get to that gold medal stage. I think early success should concern Canadians, quite frankly, because last season we saw so much early success. We saw them cruise through the round robin thing, and this is what we found out. We learned two things: Devin Levi isn't human, and you can't expect to cruise throughout the group stage and expect results in the playoffs. The U.S., take them for example, they were terrific last tournament. Obviously, they won the gold medal. That's how you become a gold medal winner. They had to grind out wins. One of them against Finland, a tough team that's always a hard opponent to play against. And they even took a heartbreaking loss to the Russians in the group stage, but they found ways to bounce back. It's interesting to see how this back end is going to react without a right-handed defenseman as they cut Brent Clark, like you guys mentioned before. And their depth and goal is also something to look out for. But they're big, they're fast, they're talented. They all play a 200-foot game. So it's going to be really interesting how this team comes together player-wise, but I need to see them all form together and become more of a team if they want to get that gold medal and maybe even get a second date and a second chance against that U.S. team.
You know, I like that you mentioned like coming together and uniting as a team, because that's something I find the Russians actually do pretty well. They just under what's his name? Oh my God, who's the coach there? Is it Igor Larionov? I think it's Igor Larionov as their coach.
For Russia?
Wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's Igor Larionov.
Yeah.
He's always had them under one system, and they buy into it, and that's why I think they're so good. Even though you look at Russia and they have like not that many NHL draft picks compared to Canada, where they're all drafted except for Shane Wright, who's about to go first, and Bedard, who's also about to go first. That's a really good point. You know, it's about unity, and at that point, we're just kind of guessing. That's maybe another reason. Maybe I had the stakes a little bit too low, seeing these guys all played at the USNDP, and now friggin' half of them are at Michigan, or at least playing in that Big Ten. So we've kind of went through. I think we said everything on Canada. Was there anything else you guys want to say?
I think we covered
One
it all.
thing I want to say, you brought up the betting odds.
Yeah.
I'm not a betting man, but if I was a betting man, I am hammering that Sweden bet, because the fact that Sweden isn't in the top four odds, that is a good bet to make. I think Sweden's a great team, and I think they're going to be a great team in this tournament. Won't reveal my predictions, but I think they're going to be really good.
That's actually fantastic odds.
Take them.
Wait, can you repeat the top four again?
Do you want the numbers too? The odds?
Or what was USA like, for example?
US are plus 379.
Holy shit. So if you bet $1 on them to win, you would win 379.
No. I think you win $3.79.
No, it's if that would be mine. No, if it's plus 379, it means if you bet $1, you get 379.
No, you bet 100, you get 379.
Oh, 100 to win that. My bad. 100 to win 379. My bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Jesus.
Like,
yeah, sorry. I missed.
Took so much money out of it.
I know what I'm betting on.
But still, these are like pretty good odds. I remember. This isn't.
I mean, people bet like $4,000 on this. So
I think I might just up
sprinkle some money in there.
Yeah, just splash the cash a little. We're all 18.
Raise the stakes.
It's legal here. I know it's not down there for.
It is in seven states. Yeah,
is California one of them?
No,
that's tough. Is Vegas? Vegas. Is Nevada? Nevada?
Yeah.
I was just kind of assuming that Nevada was one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thankfully, Ann sucks, but like.
Yeah. So we've hit on, I guess, kind of my predictions. We went in order of how I have them ranked 10-1. I want to hear your guys' predictions. How did you guys do them? Because I thought I was clear on the. I don't know how clear I was on the
Did we do
outline.
like one? I did like 1 through 8 because I didn't even really bother with like some of like I didn't really
Yeah,
bother
like,
giving my energy to like Switzerland or Austria
I'm saying we should probably just maybe do the top 6 because
yeah, top. Let's just do top 6 because
because
like all the other teams like it's kind of
yeah,
self-explanatory.
like spoiler alert, I don't think any of us have Switzerland, Austria, Germany winning
Talking
it.
about Germany's going all the way, man.
Yeah.
Waters run
So-
deep there.
They very don't,
No,
Mr.
they don't.
Mario Russo.
No connection.
So we'll start with Jared. Give me your number 6 team, if that's how you do it.
I was just gonna say I have one issue because the way I
You did it
my
by pool,
predictions
right?
is
You did it by
I
pool?
did Group A, Group B, so I kind of want to
Okay, you know
go
what?
to me
Screw
last
it.
just because I'm gonna take my Group A, Group B, and kind of
Okay.
figure out where do I think
Yeah.
they're all gonna rank. So go to
Mario,
me last.
did you do it like that too, or
No, but I have it all teed up, so I could go that way as well.
sound off, kid? Give me number 6.
So 6, I got Finland.
Oh,
We'll start off pretty hot here.
bold.
I don't know,
Okay.
man. I praise them a lot. Like they have the factor to they're obviously a veteran team. They're experienced and they can come at you at so many angles. I want to see Lambert come through. Do I think it's going to happen? I really want to think, but again, reality might point towards no. So I think that's going to be a thing that they can't get over. And I think that will be enough for them not to get over that hump. But I got Finland at 6. I got Russia.
Hold on. You almost spoiled your number 5. I'm gonna give number 6 to Evan, and we're just gonna go like that. I probably should have said it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that'd make a little bit more sense.
100%.
Evan, you want to give your number 6? You got 6? Give it up.
1 second.
Yeah, don't worry. Okay, so I go. Jared, do you have it like put together?
No. I'm in the process. One question is: so the team that is number 1, is that the team that I think is going to win gold, or that's the team? Okay. So it's by the end of the tournament what the rankings are.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do it. I guess I could sound off on my number 6. My number 6, like we already talked about, is Slovakia. I won't give my predictions because you can kind of just go through them, but just to kill some time here, I got Slovakia at number 6, just because I think they're a really good team, but I don't know if they have enough to get over that edge or beat one of the big 5. They fully could, but like logically, like I want to put them ahead of the States. I want to put them ahead of Russia. I want to put them ahead of Sweden in that group, but I find I'm having a really hard time doing that. So Mario, if you want to go give your number 5, you kind of alluded to it before I cut you off. Give me your list. Let's hear it.
Want to hear the whole list? I got you.
Just give me the whole thing.
So number 5, we got Russia. Yeah, it just keeps getting a little bit more hotter with my predictions. They will not earn a medal for the second straight year. This tournament. I don't think Russia. I mean, that they're rookie. I think they're gonna, or it's not the rookie, but they're youngster. I think he's gonna have what it takes. I don't think he's gonna have the juice to power them all the way to where they want to be, which is in a medal game. If you're relying on him, like I said before, if you rely on him too much, you're gonna force him to do a lot of things he doesn't want to do, put him in a lot of situations that he want to be in, and I don't think it's gonna be the most effective thing for both his development and for the team and the future of this team. So I have to put Russia down there just because I think that's a very good possibility of happening, because Russia does have a tendency to drill their players in the ground. I'm gonna go with the 4th one there, Slovakia. Yeah, I am very high, like I sort of alluded to previously in the show, very high on Slovakia. I do think this is the year that they take home a medal. They don't take home a medal. They go for a medal and they play for bronze. This team is very complete, probably one of the best Slovakia teams that we have seen in several years. I think they're going to put themselves in the discussion. I think they're going to be the gift that keeps on getting better and keeps on giving as the season goes on, as the tournament goes on, and as the years go on, because this program it has some bright future, some bright horizons to look forward to. So I got Slovakia at 4. Coming in at 3, I got the USA earning the bronze medal. That goaltending position, man. Yeah, I know I'm going to get some reaction from the US fans down south, but no, that goaltending, man. It is it's very concerning to me. I've seen the goaltending situation get exploited in World Juniors prior. Russia is a prime example. They didn't have the greatest of goaltendings, and we saw how that nipped them in the butt. So I think the U.S. might be right up that way. But that roster, man, it is scary. Teams don't want to go up against it. I wouldn't want to go up against it, and Canada's probably going to be shaking in their boots. But no, US, that goaltending position is going to haunt me for them going any further. Third place, I think, is a nice bet to get them there. Second place, I got our nation here, Team Canada, and they will be falling to Sweden. Why do I put Sweden above the rest? Because, man, this team has so many pieces, and I have a good feeling that Holtz is going to come out of his shell and put together a performance that the New Jersey Devils are going to be forcing their hand to get really quick on this guy and bring him right back into the system. And no, I think Sweden has a terrific team going forward. They have so many pieces that they can put together. I think they're not going to cruise the round robin, ironically, because they've done that so many years. I think the hardships against the US and the Russians are going to prove them well. I think they're going to not squeak in, but get in to the playoff, obviously. And I think that's hardship is going to show how much it takes to get to that next level. That's why I got Sweden at 1 and 2, Canada, just because of the fact that I think they're going to be good, but not good enough. Sweden's going to be the better team, and they're going to dominate them in a close finale of the World Juniors this season. So that's my rankings. Pretty hot from the bottom out, but I mean, anything is possible in the World Juniors, as we do know. And maybe this is a possibility. I usually stink at predictions. I'm not very good at pumping my own tires like some people are. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Evan Davis loves to pump his tires. The group chat is mentioned once more where he pumps all his tires. But me, no, I don't get predictions right
I
too
did
often.
call the Spencer Knight, and then
You did.
24 hours
No,
later.
big deal. That was actually pretty impressive. I'll give you that.
That was
one.
very impressive.
I'll give you that came out of nowhere, and you hit the nail right on the head. But getting back to Mario was saying, anything can happen at the World Juniors. Like this is junior hockey. It is imperfect hockey.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, as much as they're elite players, they're really not. These are still amateur athletes for the most part. So Evan Davis, if you want to sound off on who you have and tell me why you have the United States winning it all. If you do, just kidding. Go out. Give me your top 6.
Okay, my top 6. I would say number 6 would probably be Czechia. Would put Slovakia at number 5. I would put. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of conflicted with Russia because I think they actually did lose very significant pieces that just weren't allowed to play in the tournament. So like I'm just curious. I don't know how that's going to play out. I am a huge fan of Askarov. I think he's the next coming of Pekka Rinne for the Nashville Predators. I'm going to put them at 4. I'm going to put Finland at 3. I'm going to put Canada at 2. And the bias in me is going to put USA at 1. Just because I really like, and the only reason I put USA at 1 is just because the experience that they have playing together. And also just the experience that they have at the tournament. Like Jake Sanderson has been there before. Who else is like Matty Beniers has been there before. Truscott's been there. Pastjov, like those, and they've all played together on Michigan too. So they've been with each other this entire year. They've played 25 games in the NCAA. I just think it's going to click, and Luke Hughes is there. They've also come up through the NTDP. I just think the chemistry is what's really going to bring them over Canada, and Canada's only had 3 guys that are coming back. Although US doesn't have a lot of them coming back, it's just that when you're in Canada and like college isn't that popular, like going to college to play hockey isn't as popular as going to juniors. I just think that's where the USA has that advantage, because a majority of them will go to the USHL or the NTDP or the WHL, and then they'll be able to go to college together. So I think that's where I give them the slight edge over like all these other teams that have now had issues.
You've really talked me into this United States team. I have them ranked 5th, but I
was surprised when you had them at 5. I was like, that's kind of.
I don't know. Like I you know what? Maybe in hindsight, maybe it wasn't really good. It wasn't me hating the States. It was more me really liking these other teams, especially just giving Finland the edge. I think if I had maybe going back, if I'm redoing them, I'm probably flipping Finland and the United States. But
I do the
really
goaltending's my concern. It's just like I think chemistry is so huge. That's why I think, especially these kids are young.
Thing. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely the chemistry part. That's probably really persuade me. But we have one final member here. It is Jared Rotenberg. Do you want to give us your big 6?
Yep. Okay, so before I begin, I want to tell you guys, so the way I did it was, as I mentioned earlier, I did it based on, I did my Group A standings, I did my Group B standings, and then I looked at the actual, World Juniors, how the playoffs work. and I looked at who would have to play who would have to play who based on my rankings. So the one thing I'm going to say is that based on the way I ranked things, the two best teams that I think are the two best teams in the tournament, actually, I'm not going to say them, I'm not going to spoil them, weren't able to play in the finals. So one of, in my opinion, the two best teams had to get booted out. Heartbreaking, I'm going to say, because I wanted to see this finals, but the way the things work out, you can't actually have this finals. It just, with my rankings, it just doesn't work. So in 6th place, I think getting eliminated in the quarterfinals is Team Slovakia. I really like them. I like a lot of their young kids, but I just think they are a step behind the top 5 in this tournament. They are just a step behind the top dogs, and I think that is really going to show, especially considering who they have to play, which I could reveal after if you guys want. They basically have to play the best team, in my opinion, in the tournament, and ultimately that doesn't fare too well. In 5th place, I have Finland being bounced out as well in the quarterfinals, and now on to our top 4. So playing in the bronze medal game, however, being eliminated, I have Team Russia. Winning the bronze medal, I ultimately have Team Canada. And a big shame, because again, I wanted Canada versus the team I ultimately have winning it. That doesn't work out. Winning the silver medal, losing in the gold medal game is the good old US of A. And ultimately, I have Team Sweden winning it all.
Okay, I like that a lot. That was probably one of the more fun predictions. I like the Sweden team too. I can't lie; it's not a bad team. I know. I'm kind of putting you guys on the spot here, but those. So hold on. Let's quickly review. I have Canada winning it. I'm normally a pessimist when it comes to Canada World Juniors, but I think they're really good. So no, Canada winning it. Evan, you have the States, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then I think he's frozen, but we can still hear you. So don't worry.
Oh shoot, my camera. All right, we're good now.
Oh,
sorry.
There you go. Oh
yeah.
Okay. Well, there you are.
We go.
Mario, you had who?
Sweden. Me and Jared went Swedes, man.
So 2 Sweden. I'm actually the biased Canadian and then biased American to my left.
I don't know if that's
Americans.
bias.
There's a little bias in there. Come on.
I mean the rosters. I mean, like
it's good.
Like,
it's not
even
bad.
if I was just not even like paying attention to hockey. Obviously you need to, but it's a solid team.
Oh, it is. I couldn't agree more. So I know I'm putting you guys on the spot here, but do you guys want to give your tournament MVPs? I know I didn't really ask for them, but just off the top of your head, who do you guys think will win tournament MVP?
Oh, this one's gonna hurt me, man. This one's gonna hurt me.
It's gonna hurt. Yeah, I know I think I know who you're gonna say. So I'm gonna let you say it first. Who do you think?
It goes with my winner, Holtz. Yep. He takes it. It is very and predictions. Fortune favors the bold, man. So I know his history here isn't that terrific, and I know he's been having a bit of a downer. So this is a big tournament for him. I think he's going to rise to the occasion. This is all hypothetical. This is a preview for crying out loud, this show. Yeah. So we're all just giving our own thoughts and all that. I think he has a decent shot at doing it. I don't know. I'm just coming from a competitive standpoint. I know if the pressure's on me and this is my last opportunity to do something, I soak it all in and I get it done. I think he might follow the same process, and I think he might do enough that will guarantee him the tournament MVP.
Jared, I think your MVP might be a little bit similar. If you want to go ahead and share that.
Actually, I was about to say yes, and then I changed my mind. What I said when I was talking about Team Sweden is that Sweden is going to live and die on the back of Jesper Wallstedt. And for that reason, I think if they ultimately win it all, Jesper Wallstedt is the MVP.
I like that. Like when a goalie gets the recognition he deserves, I think he'll probably have a couple of the player of the games in there where they go up, shake the hands, and win a little watch or whatever. I think he'll have plenty of those. Evan, do you want to, off the top of your head, give us your
Matty Beniers?
Yeah, that's always a solid pick. Second overall to Seattle. Good defensive center. If I'm going to throw mine out there, I guess I should probably throw out a Canadian. I'm going to go ahead and say Cole Perfetti. A little bias. I met him over the summer.
Interesting.
Good golfer, good guy. He's also a fantastic player. He's a little undersized, maybe 5'9", I think his EP says, and that is generous. But he's a phenomenal player. I think he's at the Manitoba Moose right now. I had his numbers up, but I don't right now. But yeah, I'll go Cole Perfetti. So with that, I think that is our World Juniors preview, but we are not done here because Mr. Mario Russo has a little thing that we always do in the NHL season, but there is no NHL. So we're going to flip the script a little bit. Mario, you want to take it away?
Yeah, I'll take over the ship here. So for all you listener viewers, new and old, as you may or may not know, we do a trivia segment for just about every show we cover. Usually it's NHL season. Obviously, like you mentioned, Adamo, the NHL is in not just jeopardy, it is basically not even existing right now. It is on pause. So we don't really have much NHL stuff to talk about. So I think we're going to go and turn it over to the World Juniors trivia of the show. And how fitting is it to be the Leafs Line Podcast World Junior preview episode? So why don't we get right into it? And question one, this one is a pretty interesting one to say the least. Which three players led the tournament in goals in last year's World Juniors Classic?
Oh, in goals? Oh, can I go? I think I got it. In goals?
Know how this works.
Yeah,
Come on now.
Fuck my thing. I don't know where it is on this computer.
Hey, at least you got the hand up.
When you like actual goals or goal scoring?
Goal scoring.
Like points?
Not points, like goals.
Goals. Okay, goals. Okay.
1 to 3. So first to third.
Okay. I think Tim Stützle.
No.
I'm already off.
He's already. I think he finished top 5, but he wasn't in the top 3, however.
All right, I'm keeping my hand up.
Adamo?
It's bad that I can't think of a single player on the Canadian team from last year. Like,
come on. He's he's a good player.
Was it? Oh shit! This was like the year with all the first round picks. This wasn't was this the Lafreniere year? I don't know. No, it wasn't.
No,
Okay.
you're thinking a little far back.
No. It was a first. I'm gonna go. Oh frick! Here we go. Dylan Cousins. See one of them?
Yes.
Okay. Trevor Zegras.
Yes.
And Cole Caulfield.
No.
Damn it! Oh man, I was feeling.
You're just one off, Jared. You got one to answer. You got the first two off the board. So Cousins, Zegras, and who would be the third one?
Can I ask if this player is returning or if they're not back?
I can get that for you right now, my friend. Let us see.
I have a guess, but I don't know.
Okay, so I can give you this hint. He was drafted last season, and he was drafted in 2020 by. Actually, if I give it who they drafted,
don't give
me the draft.
Don't tell me the draft because I know.
Why don't you just tell him the name, Mario? Fuck.
And sorry, is this player like playing on their team now, or are they?
Let's see.
Or if you don't want to tell me, you don't have to. But
let's see. All right. No.
Aha. Okay.
I was going to say Cole Perfetti, but
who's your answer?
I was going to say Cole Perfetti, but he's back. That's why I was asking that. Shoot. I was about to say Kirby Doc, but he was injured.
Very.
Very.
Shoot, I need an answer here, and I just don't have one.
Let's go get on the clock, kid. You might have to be gassed. Keep going.
Lucas Raymond.
No.
It's actually not a bad guess. That's not a bad guess at all.
Antoine Lindell.
I wouldn't have guessed that, but he did have a good year.
He did have a good year.
Yeah,
so no points go on the board for this one. I guess these points will go towards next week's show when we do hopefully the NHL. We don't know what's going to happen yet. That's all up in the air, but we'll decide as the week goes on. So I'll go to question 2 now because I know that is for certain. Question number 2, the Carolina Hurricanes had 10 players participating in this year's tournament. So they have 10 players playing for the 2021-2022 World Juniors. Which NHL team was the last to send 10 of their players to the World Junior Championship? Evan?
Was it the Kings?
No.
Oh, I knew they had like a bunch.
Hey for effort.
I knew they had a bunch.
I'm gonna go 10. Holy shit. I'm gonna go with the Anaheim Ducks.
No. Jared.
Purely for the reason that they've been bad for a long time, and as a result, they've kind of accumulated a lot of
What's my thinking?
first round draft picks. I'm going. I was about to say the Buffalo Sabres. I'm going the New Jersey Devils.
Ooh.
No.
Oh,
This
wait.
this
You wanna
one's
give
gonna
us another-
surprise you.
Do you want to give us another runaround?
Can we get another run?
Oh,
Yeah,
one more time. Yeah,
Yeah,
go quick,
one more
though.
runaround. Same order.
Okay.
Fast.
So that's gonna surprise us.
It will
fuck,
surprise you. It surprised me.
I'm gonna say the Pittsburgh Penguins.
No.
Damn. I thought that would be like.
We're gonna go silly. We're gonna go silly.
Oh.
Silly
I'm gonna
could
go-
actually get you somewhere.
The Boston Bruins.
No.
Not that silly.
All right, last one, Jared.
Come on, take us home.
Give me a second. Just let the gears turn a little bit.
You have like a 1 in
You have a
28
5-second gear,
chance.
buddy.
Just literally pick one.
Just throw out a
The,
name,
the
man.
Minnesota Wild.
Pick another, I guess. Who?
Well, they our podcast is actually
dare you.
named after them.
No way.
The Toronto Maple Leafs in 2002-2003 World Junior Championship. They had
fuck me.
10. They had 10 they had 10 players that they sent to the tournament. That is
Son
it's
of
crazy.
a bitch.
Part of me
Yeah.
was gonna actually say the Leafs just out of pure stupidity, but like I just thought I'd sound dumb. But wow.
No,
Well, he
yeah.
said stupidity would get you there.
True.
Yeah,
That
that
was
would have
silly.
been LA. They had
Wow,
a
are we gonna go? Are
shitload.
we gonna get a donut?
We might
Oh
get a
my God.
donut. I don't know. This one, I'm hoping one of you gets this. One of you must get this, but I'm gonna go right to it. Question 3: Who is Canada's all-time leading goal scorer?
Fuck if I know.
All right, Evan.
I actually
Just name me the
don't.
player. Like I don't.
Sidney
need any-
Crosby.
No. Good
All
try.
right,
though.
it was worth a shot.
Adamo, man, if you get a donut on this, I'm questioning your Canadian knowledge here. This one was, I thought, a surefire, easy,
What?
a gimme one. All-time leading goal
That
scorer.
only made it more difficult. Wayne Gretzky.
No.
Oh fuck.
Jared?
John Tavares.
Very close, but also very wrong. That is incorrect. I'll go one more time around the horn.
Close.
Oh, what about Iggy?
Good
you.
answer.
No,
Very
fuck you. Don't say
close.
good answer.
Very close.
The reason why I say very close because John Tavares
Jordan
was,
Eberle.
there we go.
Fuck yeah.
He was mentioned on the show. One of your highlights watching him. Yes, Jordan.
You know
Eberle
what?
is
That's
correct.
right. That's right.
2009, 2010.
He played the year
14 goals.
after. He played in 2009, fucking lit it up, then played in 2010 too.
Yep.
Scored to send the game to the finals.
Yep.
To send against the States, and then they lost in overtime. But yeah,
Oh yeah, the Jordan Eberle was the correct answer. You get the point, and I guess this will transition over nicely into our regular episodes of the Leafs and Line podcast. But again, that does it for the World Juniors Championship trivia. You're the host, man, so you get to sign it off whichever way you choose to do so.
oh baby, I didn't have this planned, but you guys have like final thoughts, gun to your head, fate of the universe on the line. Do you have anything else to say? I ripped that straight from Stephen A.
Yeah, I got it. I want Iguodala, man.
I think that is a perfect way. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're going to be covering the World Juniors. I think we said once a week, probably.
I think it's up to you. I think you're going to be taking the bulk load of this, but it's either we do once a week. Maybe we can even do some Canadian games, maybe a post game if we wanted to. I think the original thought for us was we cover the group stage. They cover the round robin, the group stage, whatever you want to call it, cover the playoff. And then in that sense as well, just a full wrapping up the entire tournament because it's going to be a good one. One thing I just want to say about the tournament is that I don't think we've seen a shorter gap between the one team that is projected and the 5 team because like all these, I would even throw in 6 because you guys know from the show here, Slovakia, man, they can run it. So I don't know. I think it's going to be such an interesting, such a diverse set of games, set of teams, and we get to see hopefully, and I'm really hoping that this doesn't happen. The NHL, I hate to end it a bit on a downer, but COVID canceled the NHL. Please, for the hockey gods, do not let's get some hockey over the Christmas break. I don't want to see COVID shatter any of this. I don't care about the capacity. The fans are terrific, but if I can get hockey and lower the capacity, I mean, I got to take hockey all day because right now I'm suffering. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal, but I think the NHL being, I'm trying to be a little bit more optimistic.
Do it, man, please.
You know, NHL being canceled, obviously it sucks. Fantasy, you know, it's brutal out here. But I think might be a little blessing in disguise just because we don't have to worry about, watching the Tuesday night Leaf game against the Devils and then 9 o'clock Team Canada's playing. We can just zoom in and focus in on Team Canada and just enjoy the heck out of the ride. It's always a great tournament. If you guys have nothing left to say, I think we could sign it off. Thank you for listening. Maybe if anyone's watching, drop what you think is going to happen. Drop what you think who's going to win. I think that'd be kind of interesting because, we had some pretty interesting points. You can bring something. Why not? So I'm as much as I'm the host, I'm not the leader who can end this, whoever that is.
All right.
So do what you do.
For sure. So catch us, I guess, in the upcoming weeks. We'll be getting all the World Junior coverage you need. It's going to be a fun ride, fun tournament to cover. And I hope you have fun watching the video. Again, timestamps, I will put them in just so you could maybe narrow the focus down to what team you want to focus on or predictions, whatever have you. Even the trivia segment I'll throw in as well, just so you have everything right at your fingertips. But again, that does it for the Leafs Line podcast. I don't got an episode title for this one, but I do have a World Junior preview. So everyone, enjoy the tournament, enjoy the festivities, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I will see you on the flip side. Cheers, everyone.